Good morning and welcome to the 50th episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, MrBooMStickXL, and my goodness, I cannot believe it's been almost an entire year of this show. I have had the honor to have thousands of people tune in each and every week, supporting it from its inception. I've also been very privileged to have hundreds of guests to make this show one of the best gaming morning shows on YouTube, something I'm extremely proud of. And of course, as you can see, the panel for today is probably the best I've ever assembled. Everyone on the panel has in some way continued to help me build this brand. And I'm, of course, always going to be grateful for the opportunity to work with you guys. Your support has been nothing short of amazing. Producing weekly content is difficult and at some times, especially like this week, can be challenging. But the community's private messages of words of support have me striving to make each show better and better every week. So now, of course, it's time to introduce the stellar panel of esteemed guests. Making his triumphant return to Breakfast with Boom, a man responsible for opening the door for me personally into this amazing world of YouTube, someone who is the creator of the mooching phenomenon of 2018, creator of the hashtag Who's Yelling movement, showrunner of the outstanding Crossfire and MNC Mornings, and the newly and quite popular mooching Twitch channel. Please welcome the Mooch.
Well, buddy, I gotta be honest with you. When I retire, I'm gonna hire you, Boom. I need that as my okay. That's my intro and outro, buddy. I love it. Thank you so much for having me here today. Boom did promise all of us eggs, bacon, everything. I haven't gotten that yet, but it's happy to be here. We got a list of amazing topics. This is a great panel too. Some new people I haven't gotten a chance to hang out with, and some great veterans here today. Boom, you've assembled a hell of a cast here for your 50th anniversary, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, listen, it's always a pleasure. You were my first guest along with the Don for episode 1, and you have come all the way back around to hang out with us on the 50th episode, which is, of course, I'm very grateful for that. And it's going to be a great show, but I have to talk about the next person on this panel. You know him as a community-first gamer. I like to consider him a gentleman gamer who has helped me along my personal YouTube journey. He's the showrunner of the incredible Four Guys with Quarters, a pirate legend who I would gladly sail the 7 seas with, and one of the hardest content creator workers on YouTube. Please welcome Italian Clowns.
Thanks, Boom, and your intros are amazing. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, listen, it's always great to have you. Like I said, every time I've had a question with YouTube, you've always been a gentleman. You've always helped me out. You've pointed me in the right direction. Content creating itself is difficult at times, but it's the behind the scenes stuff that can make it even more difficult. And you've always helped me. So it's greatly appreciated. I'm glad to have you here on such a special occasion. Next, you know him as No Chills. He's one of the community's most outspoken gamers concerning physical media, a man of 1,000 impressions, old school gamer with a nasty side, and you know what I mean, creator of the very successful Gaming After Dark, and all-around community good guy. Please welcome Noof Nukem.
Boom, boom, kaboom. It's Noof in the room, episode number 50. I am super excited to be here, and, I am very fortunate and grateful to be amongst this esteemed panel and to be back here with you, Boom. It's been a little while. This is going to be a fantastic show. I promise I'll try to keep the nastiness in my pants, but this is going to be a good show. Lots of great topics, and, man, like I said, you've got it's like the Avengers assembled up in here this morning. It's going to be a good time indeed. I'm ready to roll. I just got to get some coffee down in this pie hole, and let's do this.
Yeah, well, listen, thanks again for being here. You know what? Normally, when we have these special occasions, we enjoy having surprise guests. And Noof, the last time you were here, you brought Arnold Schwarzenegger. I thought he might be staying over today. Is he there? And can he say a word of hello to the people that are listening?
Come on, seriously, Boom. Did you not think that I would not be here for the 50th episode? I mean, you're ready to kill this stuff. It's what you do. You got Shady in here. Zemi is here. You got the Italian clowns. You got the Moosh who's yelling. Come on, let's do this. Let's go. It's going to be a great show. We got Jamie Moran, the gift master. I mean, he's in another time zone, maybe even another dimension. But we're here and we're ready to do it. It's going to be a great show. Let's rock and roll.
Well, I appreciate you being here. It is an honor to have someone who was a governor at one point and is one of my favorite movie stars. So thank you for that. Next, we have someone who considers himself not only a sarcastic Brit, but I consider him the elusive gamer. We've talked about it. He is also the gift master. A content creator who is a stone throw away from 1,000 subs for his excellent YouTube channel. So get out there and sub his channel. He's a diehard gamer through and through, and someone who is not only a big fan of sci-fi, but he's one of the biggest fans of the Mass Effect series that I know. Please welcome Jamie Moran. Welcome, dude.
Hey, thanks, Boom. Great intro. Yeah, awesome to be here, and let's get into it.
It's great to have you here, dude. I haven't had you on in a while, and I think you bring a lot to the community, so it's really great to have you here. Next, we have someone who needs no introduction, but because his ties to the Empire, I feel it's only right, and of course, because I want to live. A gamer who thinks that the Xbox Game Pass is the best thing since sliced bread, old school gamer with an appreciation for the classics, sci-fi junkie, and leader of the Sesh Empire. Please welcome back to the panel after a small hiatus, So Shady.
Thanks, Boom. It's good to be here, especially with such an esteemed panel. Great people here. And once again, another special episode with some prizes, man. Gotta love that. Some good stuff. And as always, the industry never lets us down when it comes to topics to talk about, man. Let's get into it.
Yeah, it does. Again, there's a lot to discuss, and I'm glad that you're back. I'm glad everything is okay with your family. Great to have you here. Thank you so much. And last, in no way least, an Xbox fan who bleeds green, an ambassador to the community that's second to none, a diehard gamer who looks a zombie from Resident Evil 2 in the face and politely shuts off the game, a supporter of many ongoing charities and events within this community, the creator of the very successful YouTube channel that has just surpassed 10,000 subs. Please welcome Commander Zemi.
Thank you so much, Boom. Man, your intros, like they're always so good. And I love the Resident Evil part. That was fantastic, by the way. So super excited to be here. Have so many topics, great panel lined up. I can't believe like we have 7 people in here. That's amazing, right? But yeah, super excited to go. So I can't wait.
Yeah, well, listen, it's great to have you here, and I thought you would appreciate the zombie quote from Resident 2.
I did, yeah.
Before we get into the topics, I just have to say this. Last month, or towards the end of April, I launched my very own Patreon, site or channel, and the overwhelming response that I received has been nothing short of like breathtaking. So I wanted to, shout out all 16 people that have now signed on to be a Patreon. And it's like I said, it's sometimes I have to pinch myself that these things are happening. I'm really happy that people appreciate and respond very well to the commitment that I have made to this community as well as to the channel, and that you're enjoying the content. So real quick, of course, I'm going to start the list with Josette Rivera, my wife, who was in the chat. And actually, thanks to Mrs. BoomStick, she supplied the nearly $200 worth of giveaways today on her own. That was all her. So a big thank you to her for that. AP Cool, Biggie 2316, Chris Hughes, Creeper, The Only One Left, Defunct Jester, Dave, Elemental P, Jim Jordan, Lethal Papa, Mark Devlin, Mental 9R Gamer, Ricardo Willis, Scrub Nurse, and Tempest Sun. Thank you so much for completely blowing any expectations I had out of the water. I didn't think I was going to get 5 people, let alone 16, and the list is growing each and every day. So thank you so much for that. I have to just do another real quick couple of super chats that jumped in. First of all, Scrub Nurse, thank you again. He said, congrats to you, Boom. So happy for what this show has become. You are a great ambassador for the community. Love the panel you put together. Let's go. Thank you so much, Scrub Nurse. That is greatly appreciated. It looks like it says Atrocity Nights with the outstanding $5 super chat. It says, good morning and happy 50th episode. Boom. Thank you so much for being here. Gotham Guy, who just continues to just blow my socks off with another $5 super chat. It says, congratulations, Boom. Your 50th episode. Excited to listen to all of this, to the All-Star cast. Here's to 50 more episodes. I'll see you at E3. Yes, sir. We will indeed meet. I leave for E3 in 34 days, which is just still bananas. But let's get into the topics, folks. You know, besides this being the 50th episode of Breakfast with Boom, you know, I wanted to celebrate Marvel's 22 film accomplishment with, of course, Avengers Endgame releasing worldwide last Friday. And I thought it'd be fitting to discuss a few Marvel gaming projects that will be releasing in the current gen later this year, and of course, next gen in 2020. And I want to start off with Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, the Black Order. That launches for the Nintendo Switch exclusively on July 19th. And I got to be honest, right now, the Marvel Universe, or the MCU, is as hot as you could possibly be. And when you couple that with the Nintendo Switch, which is one of the hottest consoles, still winning MPDs each and every month, it makes me wonder how in the world Nintendo was able to not only get a Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3 off the ground, but get it to be an exclusive for their console. Mooch, I want to go to you because you're a guy that works on the go, right? You're constantly traveling, and you yourself have proudly admitted that you have purchased games for the Switch that you've already owned on your PS4 and your Xbox One.
That's right.
Because the portability of the console just makes it that much fun to play. How excited are you personally for Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3 for this system?
I'm excited for it, Boom. And I think I'll go back to what you were kind of saying a few sentences before you kind of alluded to the travel portion of Nintendo Switch is remarkable sales figures. That's kind of what's made that so. Its portability is what's made it what it is. But let's stop and look at the game itself for a second. This is a game, and when I say this, I mean this with complete and utter glorious applause. The game's cartoony, right?
Yes.
This is really going to fit into Nintendo's wheelhouse perfectly.
Yep. And
to be able to take this kind of game on the go, I think it's a perfect marriage between the two, to be honest with you. So I never really got into the predecessors, if you will. I never got into a lot of the older ones that were of that same genre, that type, because I don't know, for some reason it didn't click with me. It wasn't, but I got to be honest with you. I think moving forward and the additional, I think you're going to get into it, Boom. The additional characters are going to bring into this new game. I got to be honest with you. That's what's got me amped, and I don't know. I was reading through your notes, which, by the way, guys, I don't know if anyone's ever wondering what it's like to come on with Breakfast with Boom, you have to have a PhD. Everybody on here will now be known as Dr. Clowns, Dr. Moran. So what you have to understand is that Boom had mentioned, and Boom, tell me if this is true, they're going to be bringing in some of, hopefully, the X-Men into this. And
that's confirmed. That's confirmed. X-Men and Fantastic Four.
And I happen to be, everybody talks about Endgame, everybody talks about Infinity War, we've been talking about the Avengers and yada, 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 all the way down. I'm a huge X-Men fan. I love the X-Men series. I'm even sad to see the current cast that's going to be doing this last Dark Phoenix movie, and then moving on, they're going to reboot it, I believe, with new characters. That's fine. I'm excited for that too. I like to see it live on. But I'm excited, Boom, that we get to take this game on the go. And I think there's something else here that I think the panel should divulge into when it gets to be their turn to speak, is that Nintendo is recognizing something here, Boom, Okay, Sony recognizes it, and I'm hoping, and Epic recognizes it. There's a useful need for exclusives.
Thank
Boom.
you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's not forget, folks, and it doesn't matter if you like it or you don't. Look, and I would love to wake up tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. if that's even possible. And be right when you got kids, it's earlier than that. You wake up at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and all of a sudden it's utopia, right? Your neighbor comes over and goes, "You hungry? You want something to eat? I cook for everybody in the neighborhood." It doesn't work that way. This is not where we live. You have to have a situation here where Nintendo realized, hey, we've got something good going here. Why don't we lock this down? There's nothing hotter right now than Avengers, Marvel, X-Men, etc.
Yeah.
Let's lock this on our device. Let's make this thing a portable game worth everybody wanting to buy. Boom. I think it's a win-win-win across the board for gamers, for Nintendo. And a lot of people say, why do you want to see Nintendo make it? It's not about being for the corporate guys, but I got news for you. If the corporate guys don't make money, Boom, guess what? We don't play games. So
That's
it's
correct.
it's
Good
a
point.
win-win for everybody,
Yeah.
Boom. But I'm very excited. I'm very excited to hear what the panel thinks as well.
You know, the one thing that I will say, and I'm going to get to you. I'm going to get to Noof Nukem on this one because you recently rebought your Switch and
Newfonomics.
Yeah. The Marvel Ultimate Alliance games have always been awesome, and the sheer amount of heroes and villains in one particular title has always completely blown my mind. And now we're not only going to have Thanos, but we're going to have the Black Order. Which we saw with Infinity War and we saw with Endgame. So obviously it's a very hot product simply because Endgame right now is, I think as of today, has just surpassed the Titanic in monies made. And they're on schedule to beat Avatar, which had over 3 billion in sales, which is ridiculous. So Noof, I got to ask you, this is a smart move for Nintendo, and Mooch touched on the exclusive part of having this game. This has the potential to sell more Switches than or as many Switches as some of their first party games, simply because it's a Marvel game that's cartoon based, that's on the go, and right now Marvel's hot. What do you think about that, dude?
Well, first of all, the first two games were pretty darn good, right?
Yes, they were fantastic.
And it's been a long time. There's a bit of a sort of an appetite, I guess, for this type of a game. I mean, the closest we've really had to an Avengers, I suppose you could say, would be the Lego games, which are good on their own right, but it's not quite what most of us older comic book movie fans are certainly hoping for. So it's good to see that title come back. I'm pretty sure you, like just about everybody on the panel, was probably a little bit shocked and taken back last year when they announced that this game was coming and it was exclusive to Switch.
Yeah.
It's huge for Nintendo because one thing that Nintendo struggle with is having is that. Well, they've got lots of third-party support right now. Their indies are absolutely nuts. You go to the store and it's just crazy. But to get a really good quality title like that is not coming from them is absolutely a feather in their cap. It's going to move another several million Switches by the time the holiday season is over. It's going to be huge. It's the kind of game that, whether you're young gamer, old gamer, somewhere in between, it's the kind of title that kind of speaks and reaches out. And I mean, most of us, like I said, we love superhero games. We love the Avengers, all that cool stuff. So it's a huge move for Nintendo. How they pulled it off, well, I guess it was all about the Benjamins, right? You pay enough, you get what you need. But it's a smart move, I guess, on their part. Could we see this game come to the other consoles down the road? I don't know if there's like if it's a timed exclusivity kind of thing, or if it's going to be a straight up across the board. Hey, it's ours to keep. But either which way, it's still going to be huge. It's still going to move a lot of consoles for Switch, who at this point up until now looked like they could be a little light from the first party standpoint heading into the fall. They don't seem like they have a lot of games ready to go. Like I said, Nintendo came out and shot their wad early, and got a lot of the big games out of the way. So I'm pretty excited for it. I think it's cool for them, and I just want to add off and say that I guess if this whole panel were the Avengers, the only one I can definitely have pegged and figured out right now who would be who? With Mooch would have to be the Hulk, because I can pretty much hear him already. I hate to stand. Earth.
You know, it's funny, Noof. You made a good point, and boom, he did bring a point up. You got to talk about. I'm trying to rack my mind here, and the only one I can think of is maybe Bayonetta, but I don't remember. Has Nintendo ever had their claws on an exclusive and then relinquished it? I don't think so.
No. Once they get it, it's usually theirs, man.
Yeah, I think this is a signed, sealed, delivered. I think you want to play this game, you got to have that portable console, folks.
Yeah, I mean, look, let me just say this before I get into get Shady's opinion on this, because he also loves the Nintendo Switch. Chaos Theory with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, "Congrats, Boom, on the 50th." And Meg 0003,000 with the outstanding $2 super chat. She says, "Love the show, Boom. Mooch, stop yelling."
I'll do my best.
And Smitty Smith, who's been supportive of this channel since the beginning, drops an outstanding $10 super chat. Says, "Congratulations, Boom, on the 50th episode. Brother, as long as you continue to have this channel, I will ride with you all the way through." Thank you very much. That is very, very kind of you to say. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. So Shady, when you talk about Marvel, and you immediately I think exclusive, right? Because why? Well, Spider-Man was exclusive on the PS4. Iron Man VR, regardless of your take on VR, it's still a massive exclusive for Sony. Second one. Now we look at Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. First of all, the newest trailer looks incredible. I cannot wait to be able to play some of the newer characters. When do you think Microsoft is going to get aboard this MCU train and get something locked down? Because I think it's about time.
I honestly don't know if that's going to happen or when. And I mean, if it was up to me, it wouldn't. I'm not a fan of this exclusive thing, man.
I know you're not.
Marvel is, Disney, let's say, is what, like the biggest movie company in the world, the most successful. They have arguably the most recognizable IP on the planet. And yet somehow when it comes to video games, they completely have dropped the ball, just brutally, both on the Marvel front and the Star Wars front. Like, these are some of the biggest IP on the planet, making unbelievable money. Where are the video games? They just aren't coming out, not in the level that I would like to see or in the games that I would like to see as well. And then they're pulling this exclusive thing. So I'm not a big fan. I have all three systems. I have Spider-Man in the house, not a, huge fan of the game. It's good. But this thing going with Nintendo, I'm not a fan of this specific game. Like, I didn't like the previous two. So there's that. But I just don't like this type of move that Marvel's doing. I don't understand what Disney is doing. I don't understand how they are failing on the video game front as hard as they are. I'm not going to be the one who buys it. If it does end up in my house, it might be one of my roommates that is into that and does it. We don't pay for online anything, so I won't be playing with randos. If I do play this game, it'll be just couch co-op with my buddies. But from the trailer, to me, it didn't do anything. I wasn't excited about it. Like I said, again, I'm not a fan of the exclusive stuff that's happening, especially with this type of IP. Xbox got ran over the coals when they had the gall to take Tomb Raider and make it exclusive for a year over PlayStation. People were in an uproar. How could you do that to such a beloved, known character to all video game players? Boo, Microsoft, boo. And then all of a sudden, Spider-Man is exclusive, and that's hooray! That's how you do business. You lock it down. I'm not a fan of it, man. So I don't want to see Microsoft do it because I don't want to see the practice continue, to be honest. I just want to see high-budget AAA Marvel superhero games as opposed to VR exclusive, weird little, top-down twin stick shooter exclusive. I want to see AAA craziness along the lines of Batman and Spider-Man. I hope Square Enix is going to deliver on that front. I don't know, man. I'm glad everyone else is excited for this. I'm sure it's going to do fine for Nintendo. I'm not one to champion a business doing well. I don't care. As a customer, it's not doing much for me. Let me put this little caveat, though. You're talking to someone that literally refunded their Avengers ticket for opening weekend because I didn't want to wake up that early in the morning to go and see it. But I do wake up at 7 in the morning to come here on the show, Boom.
Well, I definitely appreciate that.
I got my priorities. And I enjoy Marvel, man, but it's been going for 12 years now. The movies are, in my opinion anyways, somewhat cookie cutter. The good guy wins. We find out where he came from. A bad guy with little to no motivation shows up. I enjoy them for the first view, maybe even the second, but then I'm tired of it. I think I'm just burned out of the superheroes, man. So I don't know. The game might surprise me. I doubt it.
Well, I mean, listen,
that's me. Yeah.
well, listen. Only time is going to tell. The game looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, Zemi. Before I get to you, I have to do a couple of shout outs. First of all, Thanaros with the outstanding $2 super chat. He says thoughts on the Sonic movie. You know, it's not a topic, but I will say this: there has been reports that the director himself is going to delay the film because of the outcry how terrible Sonic looked, and they're going to change him. They're going to change the way the actual animation is and what the character looks like because he looks abysmal. Real quick, Smooze 246 with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says Mooch has 2 levels of who's yelling and my chute won't open. Boom, keep up the amazing show. Thank you very much.
I think he means loud as hell and quiet. I don't know what else.
And J Force Games with the outstanding an incredible $5 super chat. Keep up the great work, my dude. Thank you so much for being here. And Cameron Saunders with the outrageous $10 super chat. He says, congrats on your 50th episode. Here's to another 50. So good to see everyone on the panel, including Mood, Shady, Clowns, Noof, and the others on the panel. Can't stay. Will watch when I get home. I appreciate that. And, dude, he drops another one. Cameron Saunders with the outrageous additional $10 super chat. He says, Boom mentioned on his podcast this week, locking up Marvel exclusives. If Xbox goes after a Marvel exclusive, what superhero would you like to see? I'm actually going to pose that question to Zemi in a second. And Rumple Foreskin with the incredible $2 super chat. He says hi. Zemi, look, let's just cut to the chase. I know exclusives for Shady is not a good thing. For me personally, I think it drives competition. I think it drives sales with consoles. Being a multiple console supporter, I don't care. Maybe that's selfish. But if you had a chance to have an exclusive character for Xbox, for a game for that platform, who would it be, dude?
Like an actual Xbox character in that game?
No, just Marvel character. What Marvel franchise or IP would you like to see Microsoft lock down as an exclusive?
I don't really like superheroes, so I was actually going to open this up like, where's the Bambi game?
Okay, well, we know your feelings on violence and zombies and stuff, but
so honestly, I would probably say like Spider-Man, maybe an X-Men, maybe like a Wolverine game, maybe. I wouldn't play it, but I guess that's probably what I would say. I'm not a huge superhero fan, to be honest with you. I played Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 back on the 360 because it came bundled with the console.
That's correct.
Probably
yes.
Played it for like 3 hours and then I stopped playing it.
All right.
But with that being said, this is awesome news for Nintendo. I think Nintendo is probably one of the companies that has been the most surprising, unpredictable company this generation. Just the way that they've changed a lot of their policies and then also going out and pursuing getting this exclusive. Now, I do agree with Shady though on the sense that I don't really agree with companies going and getting what were used to be third-party games and locking them down as exclusives. I don't like that. I think that's just a really trashy thing to do. I wouldn't support it, with Xbox. I didn't like how Xbox locked down Tomb Raider. I wouldn't support it, with PlayStation, with Spider-Man, and I don't necessarily like it here with Nintendo either. But ultimately, this is an amazing deal for Nintendo. I would love to see how they actually got this deal. Did Marvel or Disney go directly to Nintendo, or did they actually pursue that? I would love to see more details on that personally myself.
Yeah, that actually would be pretty interesting. Because if you remember, Bayonetta was a dead franchise, and they went out and they funded Bayonetta 2, and they're funding Bayonetta 3, and Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Listen, Disney's sitting on a ridiculous amount of money. They're making money hand over fist. So it's Nintendo to get out there and say, hey, listen, we want this game. I'm very interested. We'll never know, honestly. But real quick, Jamie, I want to get your opinion on this, dude. Obviously, a lot of people in the chat as well as the panel have talked about exclusives and what it means to the console. I got to be honest with you. I'm not a Me Too kind of a person. I don't think you are either. But in business and in the gaming business, you need to kind of be that Me Too, so people don't forget about you. And right now, people are forgetting about Xbox because the talk of the town is Marvel, and Sony has two big ones, and now Nintendo has a big one. What do you think is going on with Xbox? And are you excited to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3?
Well, I think I'll probably pick up the Switch later this year for Marvel Ultimate Alliance. But honestly, I think that Nintendo has done a very smart move. Marvel games are on this massive high at the minute because everybody loves the films. I love the film, and I think I don't think it's really, Xbox saying, "Oh, we aren't doing a Marvel game yet." It's just a while ago, like Disney came out and said that they want to work with partners to make games rather than make games themselves.
Right.
And that's what they've been doing. Spider-Man, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Iron Man VR. And, I think that something's got to give. Xbox has to, in my opinion, work out a deal for a game. Personally, I want a Captain America game by the Coalition. But no, it'd just be smart business sense because look, people want more superhero games. On Xbox, we've had how many this gen? One with Batman.
Yes,
it's just not enough in my opinion, and I want more. And there is a legitimate one for it by the community, and I say it every day. People want superhero games on Xbox, but there isn't any. And maybe some people don't want exclusives and whatnot, but I say, well, if other systems are getting exclusives and it's selling their systems and it's clearly working for their player base, wouldn't it make sense for Xbox as well, considering there's a one for it? Personally, I say yes, Microsoft need to get onto it because I want it, other people want it, and it'd just be smart business sense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100% with you. Clowns, I want to just get your opinion on this because, you're a big Xbox guy, and, we talk all the time privately, and sometimes you and I discuss the marketing. We obviously, everyone on this panel would greatly admit the marketing has been a big failure for Microsoft. And this isn't a Microsoft topic. This is a Marvel topic, but they go hand in hand simply because Jamie made a great statement. Exclusives sell consoles. Microsoft needs to sell consoles. We understand that the next generation is starting next year, 2020 for the fall of 2020 for gamers is going to be insane. It's going to be expensive, sure. It's going to be exciting, absolutely. And it's going to be fun as hell to be a part of that. And I cannot wait. But at the same time, they're making the right moves in 2019 with locking down ridiculous amounts of having IPs on commercials for them. The marketing has completely did a 180 from what they did in 2017 and 2018 to what they're doing. They have marketed so many of the biggest games, regardless of whether their scores were. That's irrelevant. They're still big games that sold millions of copies. Hopefully, they sold millions of Xbox Ones. In your opinion, how important do you think it is for Nintendo to have locked down Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3? But more importantly, a second part question for you: how important is it for Microsoft to follow suit?
Well, I think Microsoft's got their head in the clouds, literally speaking.
Nice. That's great pun. I enjoyed that. Thank you.
But as far as Disney's concerned and Marvel, I think they know what they're doing marketing wise. They have a huge successful franchise and they're very smart at business. Even pulling the Netflix shows to their own service.
Yeah.
So I think that this is ultimately going to sell Switch consoles to Marvel fans. I hope in the future that it comes to other consoles. I could wait a year or two, but it's definitely good for Nintendo for this to happen.
Yeah, and Boom, not that I'm sitting here. I'm not used to being this quiet. So I'm sitting here, but I want the panel to speak. I think the proof's in the pudding here. Jamie Moran is probably the best. I would call him back up to the stand. Here's a gamer he's a big time gamer guy, plays games all day long. We all know that, and he's saying, "I'm going to buy a Switch for this game." Right?
Yes, that's a great point.
Right? He hasn't bought one yet. And I mean, and don't get me wrong, I understand there's a stance out there that says we don't need to have the exclusive thing does nothing for anybody on the panel. It does nothing for anybody, period. But what it does is it keeps the relevance, if you will, of the box the company just keeps their name out there, for God's sakes, keeps you going to the store to buy it. I'll give you an example. Everybody in their downtown's got about 5 or 6 places right next to each other. They all sell chicken wings, right? Hot wings. Everyone's got them. But if I go downtown with you, right, Boom, we go out in the city. I say, Boom, which one should we go to? There's 5, 6 places. Mooch, you gotta go into JJ's. Why do I gotta go to JJ's? They got this sauce. It's unbelievable. I don't know. Nobody else has this sauce? No, it's their recipe. We got to go there. But it's a dive.
Nice, yes.
It doesn't matter. It's the reason you walk into a dive. They've got an exclusive sauce that you want on your chicken wings. My point being,
that's fine, but they're not asking you to pay $200, $300 to walk in the door.
They might have a cover charge. Listen.
They might, but that'll turn you off. It'll turn me off.
No, it won't. I got to try those things.
Well, like,
isn't enough for exclusives.
So my argument to this is like, you're like, yeah, this restaurant has an exclusive sauce, but okay, like, but in this sense, you know, with Ultimate Alliance, it's like they stole the sauce from another restaurant and then like patented that sauce, and then they're not letting any other restaurant own it that used to actually have it. That's my problem. Like, I'm okay with exclusives. I just don't like it whenever third-party exclusives of big franchises that multiple people are fans of get locked down to one console. Then it has to force gamers to go and buy a new console that they otherwise wouldn't have to. That's what I like. Like Halo, Last of Us, those types of exclusives, I'm absolutely fine with. My problem is when a third-party company or a third-party game gets locked down as an exclusive.
But Sammy, all that stuff that's happening behind the scenes, we don't care about. I get it. Whether they went and bought the sauce and patented it and put it on something else, we don't care. But the point of the matter is, to get the Halos and the Last of Us, that means you need Xbox and Sony to be relevant. And for Sony and Xbox to be relevant, they need you to buy the console. And if they need you to buy the console, you have to have a reason to go and purchase it besides something that comes out once every 5 years. So what I'm saying is, it's just business. And frankly, nobody's got a gun to anybody's head. If you don't want to go buy the Switch for that game, or the Xbox system for that game, or the Sony system for the particular exclusive, you don't have to. But the point of the matter, at the end of the day, is they have to make ends meet. All companies, period. So there really doesn't hold water to say, I don't mind. I love my Halo. I love my The Last of Us. Well, I got news for you. If people aren't buying the consoles the other 4 years that those games aren't coming out, there may not be a Halo or The Last of Us. That's the thing that people have to kind of take a step back and look at the overall picture and not just the one IP when discussion here.
I think if all exclusive games were selling like Nintendo games, you'd have a point, but they're not. Even Sony's biggest games sell to 10% of their audience. It's a minority. A minority is drawn to exclusives.
Majority of exclusive games that people lock down sell quite well.
They do sell well, but they're not selling to even half of the population of gamers that they could. Nintendo is the exception. So when it comes to Microsoft, I know, but I just don't think exclusives are as important to the ecosystems of PlayStation or Microsoft as people like to think. They're the lifeline to Nintendo. Without them, they'd be dead. But to PlayStation and Xbox, I really don't think so. They help. They do help. There are people that like them. But it's roughly 10% at most of the overall gamers that are buying these. That's a huge minority.
Even less than Microsoft, simply because, you know, they're not so concerned about whether Xbox One or Anaconda or whatever the fuck comes out next is going to sell, you know, 100 million units, right? They're very focused now on getting their games everywhere. They're focused on that service industry.
Different mentality.
So for Microsoft, it means less than any of them because they're not focused on selling the hardware. Sony still is primarily focused on, we have to get PlayStations in front of you. That's how we get our numbers for our games up. And Shady said, even their best titles still only sell to a fraction of their entire install base. You look at the top games that are streaming on Twitch and all these other places, there's hardly any exclusives from either company. It's all about the Fortnites and it's the PUBGs and it's the World of Warcraft and stuff. That's the crap that is pulling people in. And I do think it is, regardless, I'm going to go out and buy those games because I want them, but I still think it's a dirty tactic, especially like Zemi said, when you go out and you pull in a universally loved property like the Avengers or Marvel or whatever it might be, and you stick it on there. It's, you know, it's one thing to go out and buy a game that nobody knows about or really cares nothing about, but to go out and you get a property, I mean, it's smart business. Like you said, Mooch, it's smart business. It pulls in the money, but you know, it's still dirty. No matter how you look at it, it's a dirty tactic.
I think no matter how, and I see, I wouldn't use that word, Noof. The only reason I say that is, I mean, my boy LeBron James, right? He's a Cleveland native, right? He played Cleveland. He brought them a title, and then at the end of the day, should the other teams have been like, no, don't pick up the phone during free agency? He's just, let him do whatever he's gonna do. No, they went out and they wined and dined him and got him to go to Los Angeles. My point being, and now what do you got? You got people buying tickets again. There's people in the seats, jerseys.
Yeah.
And what does it do? It makes that franchise relevant. Same thing happened with Kevin Durant. Same thing happens with most superstars in all sports. So, I mean, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. And the other thing is like, again, let's go back to the 5 chain restaurants downtown in your local area. Okay, if one place has that amazing wing sauce or that amazing burger recipe, and you go, that's not fair, they should share it with everybody. No, that's
business.
Not it.
They got to pay the bills, and they want people to come to them buy the wings at their place.
And aren't you guys happy that place is still open? Right? I mean, that's the thing here. It's about keeping the doors open. That's the secret here, And to give credit to Shady, right? So 10% of the sales are that is true, right? Even that's
very true. Yes,
it's very true. But guess what? Apparently, okay, none of us are investors, but apparently that 10% makes investors and makes Sony very, very happy. Not only happy, but happy enough to continue making sequels. So that's the point I'm trying to make here. We look at 10% and we go, that's a spit in the ocean. And maybe that's true, but that's us on the outside looking in. We're not looking at the grand picture here. And I think that Nintendo is not foolish. They work by the beat of their own drum. We've all said that, right? So for Nintendo to do this, Boom, it speaks volumes. It really does.
No one's saying that they're not making money or profiting from this act. I'm just saying that in essence, it's limiting the sale of the game, and it's just not a pro-consumer move. They're limiting my options as a consumer because it benefits the company. I'm not the company, so I don't champion exclusives. It does nothing for me.
No, I agree with you with the fact that it would literally force someone to go out and buy a console. But I am going to say this. The Nintendo Switch is doing something unlike anything we've seen in gaming. I've been gaming for 40 plus years, and I've never seen anything like this. Their exclusives are selling to higher than 50% of their install base. It is something that it's a phenomenon I don't think we're ever going to see again. I think Nintendo, who I consider to be the Disney of video games, with their beloved characters, have such an incredible loyal fan base. The Ultimate Alliance 3 at the end of the day is probably going to sell 20 million copies on the Switch, and that's why it's an exclusive. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you were to make this, for all 3 consoles, I still say that the mass majority of folks who support multiple consoles would still buy it for the Switch simply because of the portability aspect. But real quick, before we move on to the next topic, Jay the Destroyer, who's a childhood friend, I grew up with the Destroyer. We have a lot of fantastic, amazing trade memories. We used to trade like we were going to the chair. He drops a $2 super chat. He says, "Congratulations, proud to have been a part of the very first episode." Yes, he was. I appreciate you being here, my brother. But I want to move on to the next topic, and I think Mooch is going to like this one simply because it's a developer fighting back. And I saw this story, and I had to talk about it because I want to stand up and literally applaud who we're going to talk about. Mortal Kombat 11 has released recently to rave reviews of fans of the long-running series have been ripping each other apart for the last 2 weeks in some of the most glorious fatalities in the series history. One of the main complaints from gamers in recent years has been the use of microtransactions. That's a very dirty word to some. It does not bother me at all because no one's putting a gun to my head. But they use this to fund other projects as well as help the developer and the publisher make money, which at the end of the day, I know that people just they don't care, right? I just buy my game and I play it, and that's all I care about. But gaming is a business. Well, Ed Boon has been making news, and for damn good reason. He was defending his game as well as its integrity. And in a story that I pulled from PlayStation Lifestyle, who was responsible for the bear poking, if you will, Ed Boon debunks reports. And I found this, I could not believe the number. that it costs $6,440 to buy every Mortal Kombat 11 skin. And I'm very happy that he responded to this ridiculous claim via his official Twitter account. And this is what he had to say on the matter. He goes, LOL OMG. The 6440 story is complete bullshit. Pardon my French. Where do these people get their information? The vast majority of MK11 skins are not for sale. They're not. That's not how NetherRealm makes their games. You have to earn them in game. And he goes, hashtag fact check before you report. Now, first of all, I said this earlier, and I'm going to say it again. I give him a standing ovation. I'm smiling from ear to ear. I have goosebumps talking about the story. Mooch, is this about time that a big-time gaming developer of the clout of Ed Boon takes a shot at the gaming media?
Absolutely. And not just that, Boom, and we're going to stay on topic here and stick with Ed Boon because I'm a big fan of his. But I'll tell you right now, bravo to Randy Pitchford too as well.
Yes.
Okay, for coming out there and being like, that's not what I said. But you know what? Ed Boon goes ahead and says, listen, that's absolutely ridiculous. You play the game. We've got to stop with this as gamers, right? We've got to stop with this microtransaction stuff. Now, I agree. We'll just put the disclaimer out there right in the beginning. If the microtransaction affects the actual player's ability, okay, which makes it greater than the other opponent, that's not fair. You should not be able to pay to win. But if you want to pay to dress your character or pay to have some other advancement that only affects you in your single player game or your own experience, that is up to you. And we as gamers, we sit here and we talk about price, right? Everybody's, the price police. But I got news for you. If you want these games to remain an MSRP of $59.99, you better welcome things like microtransactions. Because if somebody wants to, and Boom, I'll use you as an example because you put it out there. Boom's a big fan of what was that movie, Boom, for
Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans. He bought the Pegasus. He paid $20 for that, $10. That's his money. He can do whatever he wants with it. By Boom doing that purchase, everybody on the panel in the chat, please put a thank you out to Boom. He kept your game at $59.99. That's what he did by making that purchase. So with the media continuing to this fake like media police where they're out there looking out for your wallet. They're not looking out for your wallet. Believe me, they're not. But they're doing is they're just trying to get clickbait titles out there. And that's their thing. That's their thing. That's how they get paid. That's fine. It's business. But realistically, it's about time, and I can't wait to hear the rest of the panel here. It's about time that somebody like Ed Boon and Randy from Gearbox came out and put the best foot forward and said, enough is enough. That's not the way that we intended this to be. I can see how you could manipulate anything, okay? That's not what we intended it to be, and that's not how you guys need to progress through the game or spend that kind of money. That's just absurd. They know that most people would never, ever fathom paying $6,400. So, yeah, Boom, you got to applaud Ed Boon for president, everybody.
Real quick, before we get to Noof Nukem's opinion on this, iBlack in the chat drops an outstanding, incredible, ridiculously generous $20 super chat. Dude, that is pretty amazing. Thank you so much. That is greatly appreciated. And I'm really, truly happy that you're enjoying the content. Noof, look, here's the thing. In the original report, which I read 3 times to make sure I didn't get it right, they're claiming it would take a player 3,390 hours to unlock all the skins simply by playing the game, which according to them, this is not me, I'm reading verbatim from the report, that it still holds up. However, NetherRealm Studios is working on a more balanced way to address this, and Ed Boon was upfront and personal with that. First of all, are you glad that he responded to the very negative media attack? And do you think that this is going to change the way other people, combat the media?
Well, first, let me just say I better clear that backlog and get right on it then. Oh, good old Ed Boon. What do you call Ed Boon's biggest fans? We call them the Boonies.
The Boonies, yes.
Oh, man. Look, good on Ed Boon for calling up BS where there is BS. I mean, we're living in a day and age where I swear to God, there's a video game policing that has torches ready to go for just about any and every game out there. It's like a group of people just waiting to find something to hate on every game for. We see it all the time now. Mooch brings up a great point. The microtransactions are there for a reason, not because the developers don't realize, yes, they're taking a little more from the gamers by, preying on your weakness for things inside the game. But I mean, my Lord, man, I mean, I'm going to have to use a Moochism here. I mean, how many restaurants would start going out of business if we refused to go there because we had to pay an extra 50 cents for the gravy, right? I mean, come on. That's basically what they're doing. It does help keep the cost of games down. It's between the microtransactions and the fact that competition is fierce in the gaming world now. It's not like it used to be. One time you had a window between releases. Now these things are coming at us like crazy. You know what I mean? Speaking of crazy, man, your super chat is nuts today, man. You're making more coin today than a freaking corner store hooker. Like, what is going on?
Well,
that's fantastic, man.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, the generosity of the chat has been completely mind blowing. Real quick, I want to announce, first of all, if you're in the chat and you're here for the prizes, that's cool. I hope that what we're talking about and the way I produce these shows, you find interesting enough to come back. So we're giving away, thanks to Mrs. Boomstick. It's two $25 Xbox Live gift cards, 2 3-month Xbox Game Pass passes codes, and each of the first 4 winners is receiving a bonus Marvel wallet that I'm going to mail out over the weekend to you. Your codes will be DM'd to you once the show is over, and the bonus wallets are to celebrate Marvel with their releasing of the Endgame, and the first winner of the $25 gift card to Xbox Live is Samerfan in the chat, who typed in BWB50 on Twitter, and I throughout the show will continue to pick the next 4 winners, and the big one at the end of the show is going to be a code that was donated by Shisno Elite for Mortal Kombat 11 for the Xbox One. Nice. So, like I said, keep hashtagging B like in boy WB, which stands for Breakfast with Boom 50, and you have a shot on winning. But So Shady, I want to get your opinion on this because you are very outspoken when the media starts to break out the torches and pitchforks. This was a call to arms to all, in my opinion, developers, and I'm glad that an industry veteran like Ed Boon called bullshit. What are your takes on this, dude?
I think it's ridiculous. IGN was the first site that I saw run with this. I'm not sure if they're the one that started it, but they were the ones that I saw first. Shame on them and every other goddamn site that ran with this. This is multi-million-dollar business that employs numerous quote-unquote gaming journalists, in serious quotes on that one, and they can't even be bothered to load the game up to see what's going on in the game. Instead, like literally the gaming media will burn down the video game industry around them if they think there's a dollar in it for them. I cannot stand these guys at all. Kudos to Ed Boon for calling this shit out, man. $6,500 to buy every skin. He comes right out and just says, you can't even buy most skins. You must play the game to unlock them. And that's true. Like, if anyone at IGN had even played the game, I'm convinced they didn't even load it once. The review is trash too, made up. They would have realized you go into the training, you do the training with one character. It takes literally 3 minutes and you unlock a new skin for them. And that's what every single character has the same way, plus all the other ways to unlock stuff. This is the only way to do it as well. It only takes a few minutes for them to do the diligent, quote unquote, work and figure it out. Instead, they just run with the massive clickbait heavy $6,500 to get all the skins in Mortal Kombat.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane. And then as a community, I got to shame that too, man, for people getting upset with it. This is a fighting game. There's 26 fighters or whatever it is in there. Do we really need 18 skins? for each fighter. We all need that, or we're not having a good time with Mortal Kombat. The entitlement is out of control, absolutely out of control. I'm convinced that this is why Anthem has actually launched with as few cosmetics as it has, because they knew if they launched with 10 suits per javelin and selling them at $10 each, some Yahoo out there is going to do all the math, make his YouTube video that says, in order to get every single cosmetic in Anthem, you have to pay $500. And that is the entire narrative of what that game would have been, is the game exists to sell you $500 worth of DLC. It's obscene. It's obscene. The media by the day makes me more and more angry. I click on their bullcrap less and less. I can't stand it, man. I cannot stand it. I'm glad that he stood up and told them how it is. I'm glad that Randy Pitchford is holding his ground and telling these guys where to stick it. We don't need the media, man. We don't need them in today's world. They're out for themselves. They're not out for us, and they're not out for the industry, man. Rant over. I was mad, and I'm glad that it's been addressed.
Yeah, no, dude. Well, I love your rants, and I appreciate the passion, because we're real gamers, right? I'm not poking at me at the media. They're gamers, but are they journalists? Some of them have never picked up a game. Some of them are just doing it for a job.
Those are both great questions, Boom.
You know what I'm saying? These are things that we have to ask the mainstream current media, because I'm an old school cat, right? And Zemi, I'm going to get to you in a second, dude. I grew up reading Game Pro and EGM and Video Game Monthly and Die Hard Gamer and Gamers Republic, some of my favorite print magazines. And when I read a review from them, and I'm getting goosebumps, folks, talking about this, because it brings me back to my days with, of course, Jay the Destroyer and Jay the Retro Gamer and my brother Neo Mental. We have such an incredible relationship that was built and forged on the video games that we grew up with, and the trading we did, and the hours of playing different games together and working together, all in Funkoland back in the days. Today's generation, the media generation is weak sauce, in my opinion. Those
game reviews back in the day, Boom, they weren't shilling for the video game industry, but they were promoting the game industry.
Yes.
They were enjoying the game industry. They were talking about what it was that they enjoyed, and you might as well. Whereas today's media is literally looking at incredible games and trying to find that one thing and make it so that is the one thing that ruins it for everybody. How dare you enjoy this game? It costs $6,500 to buy every single skin. No, it doesn't. And I'm just, it's outrageous. Games are now avoiding putting stuff at launch because the media is so venomous, so vitriolic towards this stuff. The last Call of Duty launched with no storefront to buy anything. And it got massive reviews. People loved the game. It was great. A month later, they released the store. The microtransactions were predatory and aggressive. And we had sites just blacklisting it, going back on their reviews and stuff like that. And Activision, they've already got their money. They already sold 90% of their games in that month, where the talk of the town was positive. So they waited that month, and then they put their stuff in later. I think more and more games are going to put microtransactions in after launch, just because it's killing them when it first comes out, because the media has got a flaming pitchfork and they're looking for witches, man. Whether they exist or not, they're going to find one, stab it, and put it on display for us to watch. I can't stand it anymore.
No. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Great. Again, a great addition to the rant. It was well spoken. Zemi, I gotta ask your opinion on this. For someone who has 10,000 subs, you obviously are a community member that keeps his ear to the floor in gaming. Do you think that this was a shot across the bow for the media by Ed Boon, and that other developers should take a stand?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Ed Boon was, definitely in his right to say, everything that he said. And I wish more developers would do this. I mean, it's just disgusting, and it's somewhat disturbing how all of these major news sites have a complete disregard to actually sharing facts in their news articles. And it's a shame that, a 15-year-old kid on YouTube can report the news more accurately than, a journalist that probably went to college. You know what I mean?
Great point. Really great point.
I mean, I think that's just the biggest thing here is that, these big sites, all they care about is clicks. All they care about is money. They don't really care about the actual consumer, doing right by the consumer, or sharing accurate knowledge with the consumer. They just care about what will get them the most money and what will get them the most clicks. And I think it's a shame. And I am super excited that, Ed Boon went out of his way to knock these journalists down. As far as like the whole microtransaction and Mortal Kombat 11, I haven't played the game yet, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, it looks pretty much, as fair as microtransactions can be. And where it's not fair, they are taking, steps into correcting that and making it more fair for the consumer, which I think is fabulous. Honestly, as far as microtransactions go, Mortal Kombat 11 is doing a fantastic job with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the great point about the 15-year-old being more passionate and informative than a 30-something person with a degree and a paycheck. So yeah, that's a shame on the media. Jamie, I want to get your opinion on this. Before I do, though, Shane Toblin with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says games are not $60 anymore. You used to play full games for that. Now you have to buy season passes that used to be a lot less. And he says Avengers Endgame was rubbish. Well, listen, dude, I'm sorry you didn't enjoy the movie, but the thing is this. I understand your point with games not supposedly being $60 anymore. The base game that will give you a start, a middle, and an ending to the title is in fact your $60 that you're spending. It's a little bit more. The season pass is just allowing that game to have an after story, like Assassin's Creed, like The Division, and like many. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I buy every season pass for every game that I own simply because I want that game to continue after I've done the main story, and I will continue to do that. But Jamie, I just want to get your opinion on this, dude. This was shocking. It was exciting. I'm glad to be able to have read it with my own eyes. And I think that Ed Boon, being an industry leader, and I say that leader with air quotes because he's a 30-year veteran, and he came out and he used the word bullshit and he called out the site by name. I think that more devs need to do that. What are your takes on what Ed Boon how he handled this?
Well, like Randy Pitchford and Ed Boon, they recently came out and like stood up about it. And anything. This was a wake-up call to more developers. They should all stand up for it, because I've been sick of this lately, and it's really getting on my nerves. These developers, all they hear all the time is complaints about crunch this, crunch that, media crying about crunch, YouTube channels crying about crunch, and then 56 seconds later they complain that people could buy microtransactions. In a world where game prices are the same, but the development is going up, nothing's changing. And these YouTube channels and media outlets just make a big deal out of microtransactions. And it's not even a big deal if you think about it. If you can earn skins by playing a game, guess what? Play the game. People used to play games for months on end to unlock stuff. And now people expect you to get it day one for doing nothing, but having to pay for it is a big deal all of a sudden. And the funny thing is, I saw an article a few months ago, and it was something like, please let me pay to unlock fighters in Smash Ultimate. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's a double standard. It's just these media outlets, it just do me head in. I haven't used a media outlet in like 2 years now because I just got sick of them. And I honestly, it's just do me head in. Like, people complain about microtransactions, right? I get that. If something's invasive and it affects gameplay, totally complain away. I don't have a problem with that. But people complain about microtransactions and DLC when you could be getting more content post-launch. It doesn't make sense. Guess what? I've bought expansion packs for dozens of games. It's not a big deal. Games I've played for years have microtransactions. Guess what? I don't buy them. To me, it's not a big deal, and these developers should stand up for it. And if gamers don't want microtransactions, do what I do. Do what I do. Don't buy them and just
don't
play
buy
the
them.
game.
Yeah, great point.
Well,
great point.
Boom, let me just add, Jamie, by the way, while you were doing that, I muted my mic and I stood up and applauded the whole time you spoke. Because what you said was gospel, first of all. Second of all, let everybody on this panel, if you haven't gone, you're probably going to go, or maybe you're on your second run through, and everybody in the chat has definitely done this already. Boom, I know you've gone to see Avengers Endgame. You probably went to IMAX or something like an IMAX.
Yeah, I went to the RPX theater.
I went to RPX as well.
Yeah, you pay a little extra money money, but it's worth it.
I went to that as well. Okay, I believe that's a $20 ticket.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yeah, 20 bucks.
Large popcorn, large soda. Okay, couple of things at Twizzlers, and we were about $30 at the $30, I believe, at the vending area there. Okay,
stand. Yeah,
that's for
standard.
2 seats and the 30, you're at 40. You're at $70, folks. That was 3 hours and 15 minutes. Okay, with Avengers Endgame. If you go to other movies, it's 2 hours and a half, etc., etc. You guys fill in the blank. These games are providing you anywhere from, on a low end, 10 hours to a maximum of something. If you just played the original base game of something like an Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you're getting 150 hours.
I'm 200 hours plus into that game.
There you go. Thank you. I appreciate that. Officer Friendly to the stand. I got to be honest with you. This is true. So what I'm saying is to go back to Jamie's point, is even the $60 that they asked for, okay, that hasn't changed in about 2 decades, just short of that. They're complaining about, the media tells you about the crunch and the this and the that. We are all procrastinators in our respected areas, okay? We all do that. Everybody has a bit of crunch in their own work. So when people say that, that's a bit of nonsense. The other thing about it is that when we come down to it at the end of the day, you spent $70 with your better half to go out and enjoy that movie this past weekend, and you spent anywhere, if you went to IMAX or the same theater me and Boom went to, you are looking at somewhere around $70 if you enjoyed a couple of choice beverages and snacks. That's for 3 hours. You're getting for the same amount of money, actually $10 less. For $60, you're getting upwards of anywhere from 10 to 200 hours. Folks, we are in a situation right now where when the media does stuff like this, you've got to kind of look at it and just, I see it, but I don't click on it.
Right.
Because
exactly.
you can't feed into that. You can't feed into that monster. They're not looking out for your wallet. They're looking out for their own best interest. So bravo to Jamie. Outstanding points. I just wanted to reiterate a few of them.
Yeah, no problem. Well, thank you for that. Clowns, you're very outspoken when it comes to the community, which is what I love about you. You're a community first gamer. You're a community first, opinion and, ideology is a fantastic thing to watch from the sidelines. And I truly appreciate it about you. But you're also an industry insider. And, to see this, does this make you smile as someone that has been on the brunt end of poking like the media normally does towards these developers for, microtransactions and things? Do you with us applaud Ed Boon for this?
Yeah, I mean, the guy has to speak up for his stuff. It's his livelihood, and a lot of people depend on that studio for jobs. So I'm just tired of the media, complain about everything. They complain about every single microtransaction. They really destroyed Shadow of War, and that was a great game. I like buying microtransactions. I'm going to be honest with you. I like adding cosmetics or changes to my game, and it's just a personal preference. And who cares about skins, right? They don't really affect the power of the character. So what if somebody has a skin or wants to buy a skin? It's just so stupid and idiotic that people got to complain about this. Nobody's complaining about those poker games on your cell phone that you have to buy in like every other hand.
Great point.
I mean, it's getting out of hand.
Real quick before we move on to the next topic, King Ram with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, back in the day, you bought a game, played the game, all the content was there. And he says, hashtag one nation under God, hashtag God bless everyone. Yes, indeed. God bless everybody that's here and that will eventually be watching. Real quick, also an additional $5 super chat. Cree Ross says, happy 50th episode, Officer Friendly. Thank you very much. That is extremely kind of you. Of course, we're near almost 180 people watching live. That is amazing. I want to announce the next winner. If you just give me a second, because I'm trying to do, you know how this is, Mooch.
Oh, absolutely.
Trying to figure out who the next winner is. Let me just give me a second.
Did you say Mooch? Come on down. You're the what? Oh, I'm sorry. Why is it that Clark Kent can disappear from the movie, right, and then go and do Superman stuff, then come back and be like, oh, Clark never left. I could leave the panel, join the chat, win, and come back.
Listen, by the time you get home from work, you're gonna have 4 free games in your
This is true.
The winner of the next $25 Xbox Live gift card, Tony Brennan in the chat, who's here all the freaking time. Tony, thank you so much. Congratulations on winning. Real quick, I want to move on to the next one. You know, you talked about Randy Pitchford.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his. I had the absolute honor and pleasure to meet him at PAX East. I believe it was 2015, where he was showing off Aliens. Now, I know that a lot of people didn't dig that game. I actually enjoyed it because I'm an Aliens super fanboy. But getting he spoke to me. He spoke to my friend Jay the Destroyer and Jay the Retro Gamer. He talked to us for about 10 minutes. I grabbed him as I was leaving, where we watched a preview of the game, and he is as genuine as a human being you could possibly get. He speaks to everyone. He was like a rock star. Everyone was trying to get his autograph, talk to him, and he stopped to talk to everybody. He's a busy guy. He runs he's the head guy. He's the CEO at his company. So for him to take the time is amazing. But this week, Borderlands 3 showed a significant amount of gameplay footage. They showed sliding, they showed destructible cover, and they showed a ton more. What I thought about this, going into this is, okay, see, I'm a big Borderlands fan. I just finished playing through Borderlands 1, the Game of the Year edition. Nice. I'm going to probably play through 2 in the summer, getting myself ready for 3, and I might even get myself into the pre-sequel, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But I'm going to say this, Mooch, this game, even though it's Borderlands 3, it looks like they have done so much to the graphics engine.
Absolutely. Everything
looked phenomenal. There's so much going on. What were your takeaways? Even though, because I've heard people say, well, it's just, it's just another Borderlands. No. Yes, technically, in the number, it's another Borderlands. But what they have done to this game graphically has completely changed what I think that company is capable of doing.
Listen, let me tell you something, guys. I think you'll all agree with me. It is like a comic book come to life.
Yep.
Okay. And when you're going to take something like that cel-shaded look that Borderlands, I think that's their MO. Okay. I'm going to give them credit, even if they weren't the first ones. I love Borderlands. So let me just put that out there. Someone's like, I wonder if Mooch is just a big fan, and that's all there is to it. I love Borderlands. It's the open world. It's the amazing gunplay. It's the outstanding writing. And now, with the hardware that we all possess in our homes, we're able to take that beautiful portrait that they've drawn over the years, which looked great before. Okay. If you don't believe me, go check out that 4K enhancement of Borderlands 2 on your X. It's gorgeous. I'm also playing the Game of the Year, and between other games, it's marvelous. They have taken, all of us are comic book fans at one point or another in your lives, and they've actually put that on the big screen and made it look like you're actually living, breathing, and roaming through that. So,
yeah,
Boom, it's a work of art. It's a classic that's brought up to 2019. And for people that keep saying, it's just another Borderlands, well, there's just another Crossfire. It's just another Breakfast with Boom. Guess what? It's not. Each time is a different representation, a different look at the game, a different fresh breath of air. This thing is just, I'll tell you, Randy and his boys, they got to stand up and clap your hands for these guys. Unbelievable work. And you know what, though, Boom? Let me take it one step further here. Look at the dedication, smiles, and enthusiasm of his entire crew that he brought up on stage, right?
Yes.
That's when you see TLC, tender love and care, coming through on the product when you go home and put that physical disc or that digital download onto your big screen. That was what I saw when he continued. He did it on both sessions. He did it at PAX East, and he did it for the live stream the other day. He brought the entire team on stage. You know why? You couldn't find one without a huge grin on their face. You couldn't find one. And that, my friend, is how you know you've got a stamp of quality on what you're about to purchase on September 13th. I can't wait for it personally.
Yeah, I'm excited. So Shady, I want to get to you on this because you one of the things that makes me happy for you as a gamer is you are a multiplayer dude. You enjoy hanging out with your brother. You enjoy hanging out with your roommates. You enjoy the co-op experience. Is what you as a gamer, it brings a big smile to your face. And when you think of Borderlands and, the 4-player co-op that's going to be coming to Borderlands 3, forget what the game looks like. The game is going to be amazing. It's going to look amazing. It's going to have the same witty writing that we all know and love. but the 4-player co-op aspect has me excited. I know it has you excited. What were your takeaways from this trailer?
I thought it was awesome. I actually thought that 3.5 minute or whatever it was gameplay trailer that they had put together, it got me way more hype than the actual like hour plus of gameplay that I was watching from the the trendsetters of the world, if you will. Like it was cool when I was seeing that. I enjoyed it. I was kind of like, all right, this looks really good. But that one trailer, it just like I love a good game trailer, man. I got to admit it. Like when a game trailer resonates with me, I'll watch it dozens of times. There's times where I'll sit there for 2-3 hours and watch the same trailer like a psychopath because something about the music or the way that he reloads his gun just as the bass drops, something is going on that is getting me unbelievably hyped. And I keep going back to the trailers that I love. And this one was a really, really, really good one. Right from the very beginning, when the guy jumps in and he's got kind of like the treble meter on his outside of his shield. And I was sold virtually instantly. Like, I just really like the look of the game. They've upped all the graphics, which is nice. The locales that they showed in that trailer got me excited to go. Just imagine what's going to be like to go to these different planets as opposed to spending all my time on a desolate, desert planet. Pandora. We get to go to different places now. We get to go into space. I am a huge science fiction guy, so that is awesome as well. You get to customize the inside of your ship with some of your guns and your loot that you find. You can put it on display. That's really, really cool. The co-op aspect, of course, Boom, you got me right on the head with the hammer, man. I love co-op, and Borderlands brings it. It's a funny game. I like how it's written. I enjoy the comedy. So does the people I play with. And the only thing I enjoy more than gaming is laughing. It's something that you can't just dial up anytime you want. So when you can find something out there that can bring the laughs often, it's hard to go wrong, especially when it's a video game for me. Like, I just love it. So right now I'm playing the original, the remaster there with my brother. We're going to try and 100% and get every achievement. We're enjoying ourselves. There's parts of the game that feel dated, but it is an old game, and they have said that they have mantling now, they have sliding now, there's destructible environments going on, the expandable world where you're going to other planets. Everything about this game just feels like Borderlands, but more of it, and that's fantastic.
Bigger and better.
Yeah, they didn't come out of nowhere and just make a different game and call it Borderlands, and it's not just 100% resting on what it was. It is bringing that series into the modern gaming and improving upon that, and I'm really excited to see it. I just hope it can kind of avoid some controversy. Like, there's huge hype with this game, but because of the Epic exclusivity, every single video I see about Borderlands, when you go down into the comments, is insanely negative regarding the Epic exclusivity. People are upset about it. And then Randy Pitchford, when he said there's no microtransactions in this game.
Yeah.
Everyone stood up and applauded. I mean, I don't think that's something to applaud. That's a shame that we live in a culture now where we're not going to gouge you is something to applaud. That kind of sucks. I wish it was expected. But he did say that, and then instantaneously had 2K like right behind him on the internet saying, well, actually, what he means by that is we're not going to nickel and dime everybody, but we are going to be making and selling content, including cosmetics. So all of a sudden, everyone's calling Randy a liar, but because he is who he is and he doesn't really have to answer anybody, he's going back and calling them out on Twitter. I loved seeing it. Like,
it was great. He went right after Andy McNamara. There's
very few people in the industry that are really, truly going to speak their mind because they, at the end of the day, answer to other people. Randy seems not to and is not afraid to tell you exactly how he feels and where you can stick your opinion. And he's just kind of saying that they're not doing what other games are doing. There's not loot box microtransactions and things of that nature. There's going to be downloadable content. There is cosmetics, but it's different. And I did like how it's kind of brought on the conversation of just what is a microtransaction versus DLC versus an expansion.
Great point.
Is there a difference? Really, we don't know. And we've noticed that the microtransaction tends to be the negative term. If it's a negative something, that's a microtransaction. But if it's a positive experience, that's DLC, baby. That's good. That's worth the money. So I don't know. I like how it started a conversation, but man, I don't know. I would recommend everything to do with this game. Just be quiet until release and just release a few trailers from here on because you've got all the hype, but it seems you're getting a lot of heat with it. So I don't know what I hope they can avoid it in the future.
Yeah, me too as well, because I really enjoy Randy as a personality, but also as a CEO for his company. He does stand up, and again, like Ed Boon, took immediately to Twitter. Noof, real quick, your opinion on this? First of all, the controversy is one thing, but the game is something else. Like, the game looks like it's going to be another Borderlands masterpiece. They've upped the ante on everything. The trailer left everything on the table. They left nothing. This is what you're getting. This is how it is. I mean, someone in the chat said, I think it was Dr. Dinglenuts says, legs with guns. Enough said. And of course, the leg was guns, which was ridiculously hilarious to watch. A gun running and shooting at the same time. What are your takes on this? And are you excited for Borderlands 3?
Well,
Oh,
yeah, I tell you, I'm gonna take over for New for a little second. I got a point to make here. It really rots my gears when I gotta sit there and I gotta listen to these yokels going, "Hey, it looks like another Borderlands 3." Okay, well, you know what? That's like me saying boobies. Like, I never seen a set of boobies I didn't like. It don't matter if they be small or whatever. But when boobies come out, the boobies, I get excited. That's the way all you true fans should be about Borderlands. Yes, it's more Borderlands, but when is that a bad thing? That's like the same idiots that says Gears of War. Oh, it's more Gears of War. Well, Gears of War, one of the most celebrated games of all time. And I want more of a good thing. I don't want pink shit in my Gears of War. I just want Gears of War. You know what I'm saying? That's what we goes and doors. And yeah, these guys drives my gears, man. Like, come on now. Like I said, you can have boobies, and you never get not excited when you see boobies, right? So that's all I'm going to say. Thanks, Cletus. Thanks for that, man. Yeah, I'm excited for Borderlands 3, man. It's going to be an awesome game. You can definitely tell they made major improvements to the graphics engine. The lighting and stuff is just amazing. And again, I've said this before, it's one of the few games that you can play with your friends. It's 4-player co-op. It is the original looter shooter. Some people aren't a big fan of that, but I honestly say, you know what? Don't judge Borderlands based on maybe your experiences with Destiny or other games, because I still feel that Borderlands differentiates itself quite a bit from those other games. Like I said, and it's, post-apocalyptic. Now we're going to new locations, new planets, and stuff like that. The story's always been fantastic. Keeps improving. They've got some crazy witty characters. They got some nutty ass guns. You really feel like a pretty good badass as you go through the game. Like I said, and it's a ton of fun to play with friends. It's one of those games too that no matter if your friends are a bit of a higher level, they go back. It's not like completely daunting for people. It's not kind of like that smack in the face the Division gets you if your buddies are way ahead of you and you just become a bullet sponge. It's a little bit different than that. So I'm definitely excited for it. I think they're on the right track. And like I said, who cares about some of the microtransactions? Nobody's forcing you to buy anything you don't want. So if you want it, you buy it. Just I always say when it comes to microtransactions in any game, just keep them properly priced. Like, don't gouge and don't take people to the bank, aka Activision, that charges crazy ass money for all of their stuff. Like skins itself. Like, one skin should not cost $5, right? That's
there's some like 20 Fortnite skin. You're looking at $20 per skin.
Yeah,
like
that
stuff
is ridiculous. Think about it, right? Like, absolutely. Like, keep that stuff in check. But yeah, don't. That's gouging when you're charging way more than the time and money it costs to make this stuff. It's and DLC that comes on the games. You're being taken for a loop if you download something that's less than a gigabyte in today's age and you're paying $20 for it. Well, then you're getting roped, because that's on the disc. That stuff was made. It was there from day one. That's not stuff that they're paying staff to make after the fact. So yeah, I think you're getting gouged with stuff like that. Like Street Fighter had all the stuff on the disc, but then was charging you for it. That's what you call taking your players to the bank. Yeah, but anyway, Borderlands is going to be awesome, dude. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, real quick, I was going to say, I loved how the Gemini twins, the bad guys of this game, they came out and said that they've actually based them off of the entitled influencers of today and their cult-like followers. And the Gemini twins in the game have a cult that does anything that they want, just like some of these big influencers today just have, if they want something, they just get their millions of followers to pounce and attack. It's nuts. So I got a kick out of that too, man.
Yeah, that was actually great. Yeah, great point, Shady, because that actually is hilarious that they're poking fun at some of these, YouTubers that basically have millions of followers. I thought that was real quick. But real quick, Alan Savage with the outstanding $20 super chat. He says, hell of a way to start off a Friday. Great show, great panel. Hit that like button, folks. Thank you, Alan, for being here. Your generosity is greatly appreciated. Zemi, I want to get your opinion on this. First of all, Randy Pitchford is someone not to cross, very much like Ed Boon. But more specifically, Borderlands 3 looked fantastic. They really upped the ante. What were your takes on it, dude?
I mean, the game looks absolutely amazing. Like I don't think anyone can really debate that. And I definitely think that they are changing a ton of stuff in this game. So all the people that are saying, "Oh, it's just another Borderlands game," I definitely disagree with that. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the series. I've mentioned that before on the show, but I have played a little bit of like the very first game. And just all the things that are being added, just so many new features, so many new guns, so many new locations, and being able to travel around to like different areas, like to like the jungle, up into space, all that different stuff. I think it's definitely going to be a game set on its own pedestal. My only concern with it, though, is are all of these new features and gameplay mechanics going to benefit the fans, and are the fans going to feel like it's an actual Borderlands game? Because there's been several series in the past that as they come out with new sequels, it steers away from what from like the main core fundamental that made the game amazing for the original fans in the first place. And so that's really my only concern about it is with when you're adding in all this new gameplay and all of these new features and stuff like that, you also stand the possibility of, isolating some of your bigger fans that, might not necessarily like these features. And yeah, everything looks great on the trailer, but after, playing, watching it on the trailer and actually playing the game for 30, 40, 60 hours is a completely different thing. So that's really that's really the only concern that I have. The game looks fantastic. I'm definitely thinking about picking it up on day one. Because the game does, it just looks good, but that's really my only concern is, are they adding in too many features? And, are the hardcore Borderlands fans, going to all enjoy it the way that they enjoyed the previous games?
That's a great point. Like sometimes you can change a game too much and it does change the flavor of the soup, so to speak. Jamie, you had a chance to take a look at this. Are you a big Borderlands fan? And if so, what do you point out from the trailers that got you excited to play 3?
Oh, I love Borderlands, and something that screamed for me throughout the whole hour demo was quality of life improvements. So things that people have been wanting for years, like secondary firing mode, gives you more options. You've got the sliding and the mantling. Personally, I think mantling should be in all first-person games. The new mini map, and I've heard several streamers say the gunplay feels like Call of Duty, and that's a good thing because Borderlands, as much as I love it, the gunplay felt kind of stiff.
Okay.
So now it's meant to be more fluid. We have a spaceship now, which makes everything better, and it just it's a new Borderlands game and it looks awesome. Personally, I'm not going to say it's going to be my game of the year, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. It's just I wish I kept seeing or stopped seeing less hate for it, because like whenever you type Borderlands 3 into YouTube or search for anything Borderlands 3, all you see is Epic Store this, Epic Store that, skins, and it's just like, it's just tiring at this point. Like, just can we not talk about the game?
Yes, great point. Really great point.
It's like, oh, the Epic Store stories like for another time maybe, but like it's just like people obviously want Borderlands 3. It looks awesome, it really does, and I think everyone that wants to buy it, they're gonna buy it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that this is going to sell very well for them this year. I think it's going to be one of the biggest games at the end of the year for sure. Clowns, Borderlands 3 has been making lots of headlines, and it should be just for the game. And unfortunately, Randy Pitchford, who is a guy who does not hold his tongue like Mooch was saying, came out and was going back and forth with Andy McNamara, who is the editor-in-chief at Game Informer. And he kind of, I responded, and I told Andy, which I don't know personally, I said, I think you guys are really just reaching for a story here for clickbait. I think that, he explained that the traditional microtransactions in regards to loot boxes and guns and weapons are not there. Though you can customize your character with different skins, and I think that's acceptable. And he explained that. Unfortunately, they took it another direction. Do you think it was right for Randy to come out and go after Game Informer?
I think so, in a sense. I mean, everybody makes mistakes or interprets things differently, and maybe he didn't interpret the heads or whatever as microtransactions. But that's such a small part of the game. I mean, how many gold keys does Borderlands always give away? They give away
thousands and thousands and millions of keys on a regular basis,
and they could just sell those instead, but they give them away. I think, Borderlands 3 is going to be amazing. I think the backlash is ridiculous over this. It's going to sell well. It has a diehard fan base. And I mean, that studio makes great games. That's just my opinion on it. And I think the whole backlash is just terrible against the guy.
Yeah, I thought it was a little unnecessary. I thought it was extra. And of course, we talked about it with the media being the way the media is in 2019. They're very clickbait oriented, and it's just a proven fact that instead of talking about how incredible Borderlands 3 is going to be, their lead stories are Randy Pitchford lied, and I think it's sickening. But before we get on to the next topic, first of all, I have to say thank you again to Meg 0003000. She just dropped an additional $5 super chat. Thank you so much. She says, "Good for Randy. Sick and tired of these clickbait of this clickbait era we live in. Wish more devs in the industry spoke up." That is a great point. I want to announce the next two winners for the who won each a 3-month Xbox Game Pass subscription, as well as one of the wallets, which I'll be mailing out. James176, congratulations, my brother, you're here all the time. And Dragon Wolf who won the last part of that prize. I will be picking the winner for MK11 towards the end of the show. But I want to continue with the topics, folks. GTA 6 is starting to make waves. And it's no surprise to me personally that the Jets have severely cooled with Red Dead Redemption, taking nothing away from the game. Why GTA 5 is still relevant is because of the online. And I think that the online for Red Dead Redemption 2 failed. I think it's going to continue to fail because you can only do so much in that era. They're going to have to introduce like another, Red Dead Redemption Nightmare kind of a scenario in order to garner more sales. Because listen, again, take nothing away from the game. A lot of people loved it. I thought it, after the fourth act, man, I fell off, and I don't think I'm going back. It was boring for me. The fast travel system was not good, and it didn't even show up in my top 10 of 2018. I'm sorry, but GTA 6 is now making news, Mooch, and according to this article that I pulled from Game Rant, which I loved, I think their site is fantastic. It's going to feature both Liberty City and Vice City, making it the first GTA where you're going to have two locations to go. Awesome. Obviously, we know that GTA 5 has surpassed 100 million copies, which is just ridiculous. It is amazing how well that thing sold, how well it continues to be in the top 10 NPDs. But, this information came to us from a since now deleted Pastebin post that claims that that both cities will be represented in full for Grand Theft Auto 6. And according to the post, Mooch, GTA 6 will see players start their career as a small-time criminal in Liberty City until they eventually join a famous gang, in parentheses, in Vice City. And then, of course, they're going to work their way up through the gang until they're a drug kingpin for Vice City, which sounds, like something that you would get in Miami Vice or something. First of all, hearing this, as a fan of the series, are you excited to see where Rockstar where they take the series next?
I'm even more excited to find out that Rockstar employees being so disgruntled over crunch are actually going back to work. I mean, are you guys shocking? Can you believe this? Yeah, I mean, Kotaku nailed that article I mean, things were just so bad that they couldn't wait to get back and work on this. That being said, I can't wait for this. This is something, these guys take a lot of pride in this game. This game is going to be something special. And, you know, Boom, you can see The Last of Us 2 is waiting to come out probably till, I would say, end of next year. That's their MO. And Rockstar might surprise us. I think it's going to be not next year. It'll probably be the first year of new consoles, which I prefer. But this is their MO. GTA is just amazing. Let me give you guys an example, because you're probably saying, well, Mooch, what are you talking about? I actually bought GTA 5 on the 360, right? Played it, returned it. I was done with it. I'm like, okay, and then all of a sudden it comes out on the Xbox One. I buy it again. And then I'm like, all right, I played it for a while. And I'm like, all right, I returned it. And then I'm sitting there and I was having this conversation. I said, you know, my portfolio, my gaming library, okay, my gaming library looks absolutely naked without owning Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yep.
And it was on sale on one of the very, very many digital sales, and I had to buy it again. So here we go. There's only a few games that Mooch himself. I mean, you don't become a Mooch and buy games 3 times, folks. It's just not right. It's not the criteria. So that being said, this game and Diablo 3 are the only 2 I can tell you that I've bought over and over again. But nonetheless, this is going to be something big, and I like how they're taking, you know, I can't speak for the panel, but, you know, Vice City and Grand Theft Auto, I believe it was Grand Theft Auto 2, right? Vice City. That held a special place for me personally on the PS2. That was a game that I put. I don't know the hours. We weren't logging hours back then. We were just playing until
we're just playing games. No achievements, no hours, just playing.
Yep. It was just, that was the game I had left in my PS2, and it was just, I didn't care. I played it nonstop. So, Boom, when I read your notes and I looked a little further into it, so that may be a possibility, or that may be where they're going. That's tremendously excitable. Making that world bigger is fantastic. The one thing I kind of would hope is if they want to make the online bigger, better, stronger, go for it. But I hope that the single player moving forward, I hope that is a little more focused on the story. Because I agree. There's so much to do in that game. You guys have to admit, it sometimes deters you from finishing that game. I'd like to finish that game, and then when you're done with it, let the world really explode on all the side stuff. If there's all that,
I just say, stick to the story yourself. I'd say, like, I understand where you're coming from.
It's hard to do that when you're driving by, and it's like, hey, stop over here, stop over there. Hey,
I can't help myself, but I'd rather that was there and make it be an issue for me. And like, if I really did want to do the campaign, I could just hop from mission to mission to mission to mission and blow by the barber and not take 20 minutes to trim my beard and all that. But I mean, I enjoy that it's there. And if I did have to beat the campaign first in order to get to that, I think that would be a bummer myself.
No, I mean, well, look, they could do it in a tasteful way. It's not like they have to take the content away. I just feel like sometimes these games are so big, and I feel that way. I mean, listen, you guys heard Boom do the introduction here, right? I mean, it kind of broke my heart a little bit to hear him say he stopped at Act 4 on Red Dead Redemption 2. I think that's where the game actually really picked up steam. So my point being is that, like, when you have someone like Boom, who's such a dedicated person in gaming, he's got 200 plus hours into Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You could look at his portfolio. He plays games on and on and on, and he stops at Act 4 and probably one of the greatest stories of all time. This is what I'm saying with Rockstar, guys. Focus in on what you want us to do when you make something. And let's be honest, Red Dead Redemption is kind of a fraction of Grand Theft Auto. So if he lost it there, a lot of people I know that played and loved Grand Theft Auto games always say to me, I never finished it. Because it's just, there's so much. It seems like it's so overwhelming. I'm saying make the online that overwhelming, juggernaut. But maybe I'm hoping that it's a more, I'm just saying, and I understand Shady's point. I'm not trying to say, Shady, give you less content. No. I'm just saying, make it a more concentrated story mission, and then maybe make the extra stuff later, or work it out. I'm not a developer. I don't pretend to be, and I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn last night. Okay? My point being is, I just say, I think that sometimes we lose focus, and I think that's why we don't finish, some people don't finish Red Dead. I finished Red Dead Redemption 2, and I thought it was fantastic, but there was a period of time where you have to kind of look yourself in the mirror and be like, we're going to do this. We are going to finish this game. You have to give yourself a pep rally before you finish. So, I mean, I'm just hoping that they can do something. Let them manipulate it. But, man, I'll tell you something, Boom. It's going to be an exciting time when that game comes out.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt about it. Shady, I want to go right to you immediately because, you were very vocal about this. So obviously, this is going to be a big game. This might be the biggest game in the GTA franchise, simply because they're offering you 2 locations to go back and forth to, which I think is amazing. It's going to give you flying those helicopters with missiles even more fun, where you're going to be going from Vice City to the other. What do you think about that, dude? About those rumors?
Unbelievable. It just sounds insane. Like, a part of me is with Mooch. I never beat Grand Theft Auto. Not even close. Not even close. But they're some of my favorite games ever. I love it because the immersion level is just next level. Like, I consider it a me problem that I can't go from story mission to story mission. Like, the game allows me to go from story mission to story mission to story mission. I don't do that because I'm too busy looking at all the graffiti as I literally walk the alleys and stuff. Like, I don't just drive at top speed in Grand Theft Auto. Often I'm literally following the rules of the road, because when you're going slow and you're sitting at like a red light, the AI interactions that happen around you are hysterical. For me, I think they're so funny. You see crazy police chases and shootouts going on, other accidents, people are coming in, EMS is coming to help guys. You don't see none of that when you're blowing by 200 miles an hour, which I find a lot of people tend to play video games at. They just go to the checkpoint, maximum speed. Where Grand Theft Auto, I get out and I will walk like 5, 6, 7, 8 city blocks at just the normal walking pace, because the immersion it's unlike any other game. I can't believe the level of detail. And when I know that level of detail is in every single inch of the world, not just where I'm currently standing, it's so mind-blowing. And I feel almost like I'm doing a disservice to the devs by not trying to experience as much of it as I can and soaking in those details. The game engine itself just reproduces endless comedy. Like Grand Theft Auto
really
videos, it's so funny what's happening, the way guys are falling over and the cars and the jumps and it's great. It's such a great game. I'm very interested to see what happens as far as the media reception, let's call it. Like, I think it was Rockstar themselves when Red Dead Redemption came out and said, we're really glad that it's Red Dead Redemption this time and not Grand Theft Auto 6. Because the climate of today's world is so, hey, I'm just going to say it, they're a bunch of snowflakes, damn it. Everyone can't wait to get upset and triggered and just lose their minds and basically get every follower and influence that they have in the world to think just like they do, man. Just like the Gemini twins that they're making fun of in Borderlands. It's just, we live in a world of outrage and
hashtag fake outrage.
Yeah, and social media makes it real easy to have that outrage spread everywhere. So all of a sudden it looks like something is this massively huge thing, and in reality it's not. It's just a few insanely loud individuals with generally large followings that seem to make it look like a big thing. So I'm real interested if they're going to continue to push that envelope of just kind of like, oh my God, did I just see that? Can they say that? Like Grand Theft Auto, man, more than any other game, more than Mortal Kombat, has parents and lawmakers of the world freaking out, man. They are worried about what this game is doing to the youth. And to be honest, the youth shouldn't even be playing it. But I don't want to see them back down at all. I really want to see them stick to their guns that they're known for and just make fun of every single aspect of the world that we live in, because that's one of the reasons I really enjoy Grand Theft Auto. It's kind of like South Park. Nobody is safe. So no one person should be taking offense like, hey, you shouldn't say that about this person. Hey, look, they said some shit about every person. That's the way this game goes. Mm-hmm. I really hope they deliver. I'm excited with the two cities, man, going from Liberty City and then going all the way over into
Vice City. That's
Vice
great.
City. Yeah, baby, becoming a huge drug kingpin. I don't know what to say, man. Say hello to my little friend. I can't wait to get in there, man. I play these games as a savage. Like, there's no morals when I'm playing these video games.
Well, I mean, it's not. Again, you know what you're getting.
Watch me. Yeah,
yeah. You know what
I'm
you're
excited.
getting.
I really am. I hope it's kind of a next gen title. I really do. Like, I want to see something that is insane, not just Red Dead Redemption graphics in a Grand Theft Auto world. Like, let me jump again. I can wait another 2 years for GTA 6.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Nuv, I want to get your opinion on this. You know, it's it's fair to say that Rockstar is one of the few developers that when they release a game, it basically prints gold bars with every title sold. They did it with GTA 5. They did it with Red Dead Redemption, and there's no doubt they're going to do it with GTA 6. From what you're hearing with these little leaks, are you excited to jump back into Liberty City?
Oh man, well let me just say that Rockstar's got more coin than Scrooge McDuck. Those guys are just rolling in at people. I mean, at this point, who the hell does not have a copy of Grand Theft 5?
You
Stand
have
up.
3 of them.
There's got to be 3 of them. I'm pretty sure people's grandmothers have bought this game. And now, I mean, I bought it on the 360, then I bought it again for the Xbox One. So I've had a couple copies of this thing. It's phenomenal. And one of the things that makes the beauty of Rockstar games with the GTA and Red Dead Redemption is they do so many little things well that they become big things to us, right? Their attention to detail is unmistakably Rockstar. No other company puts this much blood, sweat, and tears into fine-tuning little stuff that you rarely ever see in video games. And certainly when you do, it's rarely done as well as what Rockstar does. I mean, you look at the amount of vehicles that are in, say, GTA 5, for example, and the differences between them and how they handle and different things like that, like I said, and the vast world. There's a lot of computing power going on behind this amazing engine. Now, if there's one thing I definitely think I would love to see tuned from Rockstar is fix your controls a little bit. Whether it's GTA, which has been this kind of way for a few years, and now Red Dead is one of my biggest complaints, is that the controls, well, I get it. There's a lot of animation in there. They should feel a bit smoother. I've always found that when you're walking or running, it's almost like you're fighting against a bit of a whirlwind coming against you, like a little tornado in your pocket, holding you back. They just don't feel as fluid as, say, some other games. Like I would like to have the fluidity in a Rockstar game that, say, the Tomb Raider franchise has with Lara Croft, that sort of thing.
Do you feel that Rockstar puts weight on their characters? I feel like they feel like they actually are heavy, whereas Lara Croft feels like she's a feather.
Yes, you kind of remember the first Gears of War, how everybody felt like their feet were in mud, and that was kind of the purpose of that game.
When you hit the wall for cover, you felt like you felt that pop.
Like, don't you feel like even when you're getting in Red Dead, when you're getting on the horse sometimes, doesn't it almost feel like you're tapping your button or holding it down? It's like, dude, get the frig on the horse. I just hit the on button. Like, why does there got to be this weird animation and just like a disconnect, almost like there's a lag, but there's no lag. That's just their engine, right? Everything feels just a little bit off. It's not terrible. It's just a little bit off. Yes, and their reticle too. Like, can you make a reticle that's actually easier to see than a little dot on the freaking screen that you're like, where the hell did it go? Sometimes you're aiming so frantic, you're like, if it wasn't for that friggin' auto crap or whatever, you'd be like, where the hell is my reticle? It's like having a mouse screen back in the old days. You're trying to figure out where the mouse went, and you're like, where the hell? But look, their games are phenomenal. This world is going to be crazy. If they do Vice City and they do this other one, it's just going to be phenomenal. Those games already are near and dear to the hearts of many people. Those are the games that established the Grand Theft Auto franchise. Before, I think San Andreas was the game that set it into another stratosphere, but it was Vice City and the original Grand Theft Auto 3 that really took the world by storm, and that sort of thing. Their content, their humor, their stories. And the other thing that makes their games amazing is that while most video games that we play these days are very busy on taking us out of the world that we're sort of in our real lives, they take us to these fantasy places. Essentially, Rockstar's games kind of bring you back into our world, right? Because they're based around realism. Well, you could say like Grand Theft Auto 5 is a little bit more satirical. It's a little bit more, what do you want to call, accentuated, but it's still sort of based in reality. The cars are not, yes, the real model cars. They look a lot like them and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? They articulate and they emulate real world pretty damn well, and the characters you can identify with. That's the thing. You walk in and you can picture yourself as one of the 3 main characters from GTA 5. You can picture yourself as the main character from Red Dead, or some of the characters in the game. You probably know people that act and look nearly the same as these people do, and the dialogue is not like, especially in Red Dead, the dialogue is actually like feels like real world dialogue. Grand Theft Auto gets a little wacky at times. There's some of the missions like aliens and all that stuff. But you know what I'm saying? Like they kind of bring us back into a world, but they do a few things just enough to remind you that, yes, you're playing a video game, where other games are always busy taking us out of real world, putting us in a spaceship or putting us with millions of zombies and putting us with things that at the end of the day are fun, but you can't relate to it. And that's the thing. Rockstar's games are relatable. They're amazing. They're detail filled. They're fantastic. GTA 6 is going to come out and it's going to set huge records. I think it's going to blow this one out of the water because of the fact that this game is still in the top 10 or 20 in sales almost every time you check is a testament to how cool and awesome their games are. And you mentioned earlier, Boom, that Nintendo's games have a crazy attach rate. I would love to see what the attach rate to GTA 5 is to a console. It's got to be well up there when you're selling 100+ million units.
Oh yeah, it's got to be in the high 80 and 90 percentile for sure. Everyone has a copy of that game one way or another.
And I'm calling 2021. I think they're going to let Red Dead fester for a little while longer, and then they're going to blow GTA 6 on the world. 2021 is what I'm calling. Probably a fall.
All right. Well, real quick before I move on to Zemi and get your opinion on Grand Theft Auto, Enrique, good friend of the community, great friend of everyone on this panel from Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. I got to tell you, I did an event with them a couple of months ago where I previewed them on a Saturday. They finally hit their 1,000 subs. They should be at 10,000 subs. Their panel is magnificent. Enrique puts on a fantastic show. He's very well versed in not only the community, but as the entertainment business called gaming that we all know and love. He just donated a Devil May Cry 5 code to give away live on the air.
Nice.
Real quick, I pulled the winners for both Mortal Kombat 11 and Devil May Cry 5 because the show is getting long, and I know Mooch is going to have to get out of here at 12. It may go a little bit longer because we have one other topic. Cyber Gunter 81 wins Mortal Kombat 11, and Cybernox wins DMC 5. So I will be sending out everyone's code out as soon as the show is over. Congratulations to all the winners. It has been one heck of an episode. Jamie, I want to get your opinion on Grand Theft Auto. No, I'm sorry, Zemi. I want to get your opinion on Grand Theft Auto 6. Is it something you're going to play? And are you excited to see where Rockstar takes the series next?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a day one purchase without a shadow of a doubt. I don't even need to see a trailer. I don't need any news on the game. All I need to know is that it's called Grand Theft Auto 6 and I'm in. I love Rockstar. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 was like my personal top 2 game last year. Absolutely love that game. Beat it in 3 days. Fantastic game. Love the realism and everything like that. And I really kind of hope that they drag some of that realism into Grand Theft Auto 6. Like, of course, I like all like the satire and like the funny things. But I really, really enjoyed the feature where your hair actually grew as your character progressed in the story and whatnot. It's little things like that just get me engulfed into a game. Like The Witcher did it, and then Red Dead, and I would love to see it happen in the newest Grand Theft Auto. I think it's amazing that they're going to be doing 2 cities. If that leak is true, I guess. I like things like that just blow my mind. I remember back in the day whenever I played Godfather, the Godfather 2 game.
Good one. That's a classic one.
They actually that was the very first game that I ever seen going to multiple cities, like hopping on a plane and flying over to, Miami and then doing things in Miami and then hopping on a plane and going over to like Vegas or, New York or Cuba. And I mean, that type of stuff was just absolutely amazing. I really, really am excited to see that. The story sounds fantastic about becoming a big drug lord. It just sounds like a Grand Theft Auto story, which is fantastic for me. I really cannot wait for this game. I wish it was out today. But I don't think it's going to probably come out until probably fall of 2020. Fall of 2022. And the reason why I say so late is because Rockstar, they're perfectionists. You know what I mean? They're not going to release that game until it's ready. They're doing 2 full-size, city maps.
Yeah.
I mean, Grand Theft Auto Vice City back in the day. I mean, yeah, like the maps have obviously gotten bigger since then, but I mean that game was still big, and it's 2019 right now. The new generation, they're going to be adding in a lot more detail into the world, a lot more NPCs, and the game's just going to be huge. So I think probably 2022 in fall is probably when we're going to see this game. At the very earliest, I think 2021.
Okay, well that makes that makes sense because you are right. Rockstar, they don't drag their heels, but they want the game coming out, and when it releases, it's usually perfection in the making. Jamie, this is actually not the first time that we're hearing about a 2-city Grand Theft Auto 6. I've heard this numerous times before. I've read it on the 4chan forums numerous times from people that I trust, that I constantly go back for information. How excited are you for Grand Theft Auto 6 for the fact that they're going to have 2 fully fledged out living cities for you to go back and forth in.
Well, just to use an example, in Grand Theft Auto Online, I put in maybe 3 months of game time.
Wow.
And earned over $375 million.
Holy moly.
So I was a bit addicted for a while.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's just on Xbox One. I played more on 360. So the fact that we might have 2 cities is fantastic. And, Grand Theft Auto has always been about, a satire of American culture. It's always been a funny game. And if they can drip feed all the quality Red Dead Redemption 2 has into a Grand Theft Auto game, it could be one of the best games ever made. But I do hope they'll fix the controls, because that's the thing with Rockstar. They'll make fantastic games, but the controls are terrible. The shooting mechanics are terrible. And something they do get right is actually the vehicles. It's pretty much the only open world game in a modern setting that has good vehicle handling, where you can actually get out of a car. And the 4chan leaks, I've seen stuff like this before, and I hope it's true, because having 1 city in Grand Theft Auto 5, while the map felt big, a lot of it wasn't really used. So if there's more cities, perhaps they'll actually utilize them areas more.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the most exciting part.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're 100% right. Having 2 cities to go back and forth. How are you going to get there? Again, that's going to be the fun part. Do you drive? Do you fly? Do you actually pay for a train? Do you do you pay for do you have a private jet that takes you back and forth? There's so many things that they can do. Clowns, I want to get your final opinion on this before we move on to the last topic. And I'm going to get Mooch out of here because he's got to get back to work. He actually was here doing us a favor, by being here today. He's actually working. Clowns, Grand Theft Auto 6 is no doubt going to probably break every record there currently is in gaming. For you personally, is it a day one purchase, and are you excited to have 2 cities if this leak turns out to be true?
Yeah, I mean, I like Rockstar and the games they develop. I love the Grand Theft Auto series. So I'm really excited to have this, and I'm glad that it's actually a new game and not just added DLC content to the one that we have for like the last 4 years. So
yes,
pretty excited about this, man. I think it's going to sell well, and the stories from what I heard from the panel talking about the leaks on the game, it just sounds amazing, man.
Yeah, I guess storefront corner drug dealer to Kingpin is going to be an interesting ride. Mooch, listen, I know you got to get back to work, so we're going to get you out of here. You have a lot of stuff going on over the weekend, especially now that you're doing your nightly streaming. But there's something not happening tonight. I kind of want you get that out there for the fans.
I'm a little bummed, but I want to let everybody know. Yeah, we are not. I got a lot of stuff going on, family stuff going on, so I'm not going to be able to do Crossfire tonight. No Crossfire tonight, but we will be streaming tonight. So the Mooch78 on Twitch.tv. I think we're going to be doing some more State of Decay 2. Unbelievable, Boom. I mean, everyone's been wrapped up in Days Gone. I did Days Gone for about a week now, streaming it religiously. And then I said, you know what? Wait a minute. I said, a lot of people are making the innuendos and the references. Let's do State of Decay 2. And wow, what an audience that came out last night to check that out again. I think a lot of people were like, I want to see what what advancements they've made with the DLC or the updates, and the gameplay is so much better. And I'm playing with the great Goodang 775, who's got 500 plus hours in the State of Decay 2.
Wow.
I mean, he's a guru in that game. He knows everything, the ins and outs. But I want to say thank you to Boom. Thank you to Mrs. Boom.
Thank you.
For all the things that she did today to provide for the chat and for all the prizes that are available. Great panel. It's been an honor to be on here with Clowns, Jamie, Noof, Shady, and Zemi. Zemi, who was great to meet Zemi, too, who's an ambassador. Those guys do a lot of work for us behind the scenes, so do recognize that. They do a lot of the stuff that we don't want to do that makes our platform that much better. So shout out to Zemi and all the guys out there, too. Boom. Listen, we're going to have Crossfire next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The Mooch78's channel will be back. We've got MNC show Sunday morning at 11:30. And yeah, guys, check it out. I do want to promote it one more time because I'm just having a great time with it, Boom. And I think you appreciate it more than even most, is that it's a chance to play the games we talk about and interact with the audience, right? So
absolutely.
It's twitch.tv the Mooch78. Please stop by and follow, guys. We have a blast. It's kind of like that live action podcast. That's what I like to call it, the live action podcast. So definitely check it out, Boom. And thanks for having me here today. Congratulations on 50 episodes. Hope you get another 50,000, buddy. You're that dedicated and you're that great at it.
I appreciate it, Mooch. Once again, thank you for being here, brother. I could not have got into this medium if it wasn't for you opening the door. I'm always going to be grateful, and enjoy your weekend with your family, my brother.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the day.
Take it easy, bud.
All right, folks. So listen, we're gonna move on to the last topic, and I saved this particular one because it's a gem. Now we talked about zombie games, and when you talk about zombie games, whether it's last generation or this generation, we've had quite a few great ones. You know, you talk about The Last of Us, you talk about Days Gone, even with its problems, it's still a good game. And when I talk about zombie games, I think of Left 4 Dead. They are Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 are probably some of the best co-op gameplay I've personally ever had outside of Halo and Gears. Just the other day, and that's why the story is last, because I got it late. I wrote it last night at midnight, as a matter of fact. There was an impressive Left 4 Dead 3 cinematic trailer. And since this trailer has been released, it has been viewed 1,000 times. And, most of the fans, even though this is not officially from Valve, there has been rumblings that, Valve is going to have to start doing something other than Steam. Obviously, we're not going to get into the Steam thing, but they are losing handily to the Epic Store because of the 30% versus 12%, and they are losing money. And most fans, including myself, have been asking, what the heck is going on with Left 4 Dead 3? And the cinematic trailer was done unbelievable. I'm going to say this: the lighting was amazing. The different aspects were amazing. The sound was good. This does not seem like it was done in someone's basement. And if it was, someone needs to hire this person, because it was a masterpiece trailer. Shady, I want to start with you. Again, this is a game, when you talk about Left 4 Dead and your enjoyment of co-op, this is something I can see you playing with, of course, your brother and your roommates and other people that you have on your friends list. Is it time for Valve to pretty much take their head out of their ass and give us Left 4 Dead 3?
I think they've got a couple games, like a Left 4 Dead 3, a Portal 3, and a Half-Life 3, that if they're not doing these games soon, I almost think they should just come out and say it's never going to happen. The longer they wait, the more, the higher expectations people are going to have for these games when they finally do release. And it's going to be even more difficult for the company who hasn't made a game in the better part of a decade to actually come out of nowhere and meet those types of expectations. It's going to shoot them in the foot if they don't just nail it so hardcore. And I think the longer they wait, the smaller chance of them actually being able to pull it off, it diminishes. So yes, the time is now, my God. And when they do, or if they do, I should say, of course, if they do start making these games, I, of course, don't hope that they're exclusive only to the Steam store. I would love them on all consoles. That has been the past way. Not all consoles. Right. Left 4 Dead was an Xbox exclusive on console space, which was, that was a really popular game that a lot of people enjoyed playing, and it did a lot for the 360, I guess. I'm not denying that, exclusives can bring eyes to your stuff. I'm not a fan of the practice. That aside, Left 4 Dead 3, man, I'm super hyped. I was into the first game. I liked it. And I remember the second game came out within, I believe it was even the first year or 14 months. It
was literally the next year.
Yeah. And the community was a little bit of an outrage because they were like, it's too soon. Like, we were really liking that first game because it was insane. But the second game improved on so many levels and was such a better game to me anyways. Like, technically it was anyways, not necessarily story driven, the characters, that's individual, but technically they improved on so many things that I'm glad that they busted that out when they did, because I enjoyed that second game so much more. The cooperative was fantastic. I liked the achievements, trying to get that gnome through the damn level onto the helicopter. Ridiculous, but it was great. Like, that's one of my favorite achievements I've ever gotten as well. And the multiplayer was actually surprisingly fun, considering when you have modes where one team is playing as, a bunch of monsters with powers and the other team is just humans, you kind of really need players to want to play as they're supposed to. Like, look at Evolve. It didn't work, the 1v5.
Right. Good
It
point.
just, sometimes it works fantastic, other times it kind of doesn't. And it worked in Left 4 Dead, so I like both the cooperative and I like the versus parts of it as well. I hope that they do deliver on it. Like, there's a lot of other companies that they're not waiting for a Left 4 Dead 3. They're releasing their own games. One of them just came out, World War Z. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
By the way, I haven't put much time in myself, like personally, but I have watched my roommate play it and a couple of my favorite YouTubers. It looks incredible. I need to get into it big myself.
Yeah.
So other companies aren't willing to wait for this type of a genre to go as far as Valve is concerned. So if Valve's waiting again too long, not only is my expectations for a Left 4 Dead 3 through the roof, but the genre itself is a little bit, I don't want to use the term watered down because that sounds negative, but it's been satisfied. There are other games that are doing it well. And I just hope that they, like you said, get their head out of their butts and realize that they're sitting on a gold mine with some of their IP that a lot of people will clamor over each other to get to. And I hope that they can start releasing these games, starting with Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah, no, that actually would be fantastic, and I think they would make literally a shit ton of money. Noof, the trailer that I'm referring to, that I'm gonna post a link for the trailer in the show notes if you want to check it out, or you just go to YouTube and just type in Left 4 Dead 3 trailer and just look for the date. It just released the other day. The trailer follows a Mandarin camera that moves around an abandoned gas station. At the back of the shop is the famous safe room with a map on the wall and notes about the local area. The shop, of course, itself is torn to pieces, and there's gore all over the place. And there's even a zombie's head sitting on a sled that's been decapitated by the axe, and it still remains in the wood. This is it gave me goosebumps watching the trailer simply because it's exactly what I would want for Left 4 Dead 3. In your opinion, even though and again, this is not being released by Valve. This is a trailer. It was probably made by someone trying to garner excitement for it. So I have no confirmation that Valve was responsible for this, as it appears they're not. But this is the kind of fandom that wants a Left 4 Dead 3. Do you want one? Do you want a Left 4 Dead 3? And more specifically, do you think do you agree with Shady that they're sitting on a gold mine?
Well, absolutely. I don't know what it is with Valve, but like someone said in the chat, I'm not sure if it was Shizno, but yeah, these guys can't count to 3. I don't know what it is. After 2, they just stop kaput. Look, most of the guys that made Left 4 Dead that moved on now into Turtle Rock, they tried something different, like you said, with Evolve, but it just didn't work. I think they're going back to the roots. I think they got this Bound for Blood game come out. Which
and it looks up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is essentially the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. Now, why Left 4 Dead, I think, was super popular. One, it came out at a great time when the market wasn't saturated. Like Shady said, at the time, zombies were just starting to hit a stride. And their zombies, or they're dead, or whatever you want to call them, were a little bit different. I mean, the things that made Left 4 Dead amazing was it had a great graphics engine. It was a proven smooth engine based on the Source engine off of Counter-Strike. So it was smooth, it was fast, it ran very fluidly. I rarely ever seen any technical hiccups with that game when it ran. It was co-op. I mean, that was amazing as well. And it was fairly simple. It was a game that you could pick up and play and get into immediately without a lot of big, steep learning curve. The learning curve was learning how to survive and learning how to communicate with your buddies, because the better team you had, the better chance of success you had. If you had a bunch of Rambos in there thinking they can run off on their own, you guys didn't last very long. You probably saw that really in a hurry. And I loved how the AI itself was a star of its own game, because the AI was so unpredictable. Nothing ever really happened the same way. One minute you're like, man, this level feels like it's barren, and all of a sudden you think you're going to cakewalk into the safe house. Nope, there's a big swarm, and all of a sudden one of your buddies is missing because the dude with the tongue has got him sucked up into the trees. Yep. And then there's a boomer behind the shed, and he blows up on your face, and a witch is screaming at. Like, that game used to get pretty nuts, man, especially when you're toward the end of the game trying to get out of the levels and stuff. Holy mackerel. That game was insane, especially if you crank the difficulty up too. Like Shady said, one of the coolest, funniest, and difficult achievements was getting the little gnome through a whole level. That was insane because you had to have a good team to protect you, man. I'm telling you, it was insane. But yeah, this is a fantastic game. I'm hoping they bring out a new one. Nobody really knows for sure. I think, like I said, the trailer is more or less is a fan service. I really don't think there's any truth to it. Like I said, I'll go for Bound for Blood or whatever you call it. But I'm excited. I would buy it day one if they bring it out. But they got to get on the boat, and they got to get on it soon because this window of opportunity is fading. There's so many great games coming out now. We've seen, like I said, State of Decay following some great success. Days Gone seems like it's doing fairly well. Some people hate it, but I mean, it's cool. World War Z especially looks like maybe one of the most refreshing takes on this sort of genre in a while.
You have Dying Light 2 coming out.
Dying Light 2, Call of Duty's been doing the zombies mode, so that was their sort of take on the franchise, doing their and those modes are holding up fairly well for the Call of Duty franchise. Yeah, there's just so many things. I'm getting worn out on the whole genre myself. Like I'm pretty soon like, every time I start seeing a game now with dead people in it, just like never mind. But yeah, I would still buy Left 4 Dead just because of the type of game it is. But yeah, they have got to, as they say, crap or get off the pot here real soon before nobody cares about this damn franchise anymore.
You know, Zemi, I want to get your opinion on this. I know that you're not a scary game kind of a guy, but, you know, just talking numbers. Left 4 Dead 1 released on November 7th, 2008, and its sequel followed 1 year, 10 days later. For Left 4 Dead 2 on November 17th, 2009. And obviously those games were recently backwards compatible. They got the 4K treatment. They look fantastic on the X. But like Noof was saying, shit will get off the pot. Do you think that they're wasting, if they don't want to use the Left 4 Dead franchise, why not just sell it?
I think they're waiting for the right moment. And, they're currently, Turtle Rock is currently developing Back 4 Blood, right? And I think chances are very high that we're probably going to see a Left 4 Dead 3. And, part of it might be that they don't have enough money to finish Back 4 Blood. And they're going to push for a Left 4 Dead because they know that it's going to make money for them. It might just be, one of those cases where publisher money ran out for Back 4 Blood and they got to do something to survive. I mean, it's been 4 years since Evolve came out, and that game really was not that big of a success. I mean, a lot of the reviews were good, but a lot of people didn't really buy it or really play it from what I know of. So yeah, I mean, I think, I definitely think that we're going to see another Left 4 Dead. And I think money is probably the biggest motivating factor on why we're going to see it. I don't know if it's going to be nearly as successful as it was. I mean, it probably will be because more gamers are playing now than back, in 2008, right? Whenever the game came out. But I don't know. I mean, like the market's over, super saturated with all this zombie stuff. So, I mean, who knows? I played a little bit of Left 4 Dead. I wasn't really the biggest fan, as I'm sure many people could imagine. But I don't know. I mean, I would love to see it for the fans.
Yeah, well, real quick, I have to do a big shout out to LG Nemesis in the chat, who actually just said check Twitter, and I did, and apparently Destructoid had literally did a couple of hours ago did a story where they're saying that the Left 4 Dead 3 trailer is very well made, but it's also very fake. With that said, I still thought it was important to, because obviously, you have to take these leaks and these different trailers with a grain of salt until Valve themselves are coming out. But Jamie, I want to get your opinion on this. First of all, Zemi just made some really great points. With the sweeping success of World War Z, and with Turtle Rock Studios, the developers of Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, bringing out their own Back 4 Blood, which is basically a spit in the face to Valve. And I'm glad they did it because Valve is ridiculous. It's not counting the 3 thing is just outrageous. Even if they decide to release a Left 4 Dead 3 after the success of both, Back 4 Blood is going to be a big success. I know it. And World War Z completely shocking everyone. Do you think that they're even going to bother at this point?
Well, first up, the trailer looked good, but I think it's 100% fake. It screamed Unreal Engine 4 to me for whatever reason. But there's a market for it, and I think Back 4 Blood will do well because they've partnered with Warner Brothers. But I think I do think Left 4 Dead will be a thing this year because Valve announced that they're going to have a marquee title launching to work with their new VR this year. And I don't think it's Half-Life because that's just too much out there, too much pressure on them to get the perfect game perfect. But Left 4 Dead in VR, a game where it plays in, just various small stages where you're swinging an axe.
Yeah,
I think that'll work. So, people say they worn out in zombie games, but at the end of the day, they always sell well. Like World War Z in the UK, tore up the charts. It's selling great on Xbox and PlayStation and PC. State of Decay did well in the UK. Days Gone's doing well in the UK. There's a huge market for zombie games, and people are getting sick of them, but there's a crap ton more of people like wanting more. And, Valve, they said they're going to be coming out with new games, and I think one of them is Left 4 Dead because that's the only one other than Portal I can see working really well with VR. And with their new expensive headset, they're going to need some fancy games, and I think that'll be the one.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes perfect sense. VR is where they're spending a lot of their time, and it would make sense for them to come out with a Portal. Or, I mean, I've even heard a rumor yesterday that I didn't report on it because, I want to get some more facts, but a VR Half-Life maybe showing up. Maybe these are the 3 games that, even though they didn't count the 3, they're gonna release it for VR, and of course people are just gonna run to the the digital shops and pick this up. Clowns, I just want to get your final opinion on the Left 4 Dead 3. Yes, it's been debunked that it's a fake trailer, but sometimes fake trailers like this get people excited, like myself. That's the reason why I did this story. Is because I'm a big Left 4 Dead fan. Loved playing with my brother and my friends. We played every night. It was great. It was a glorious time online, especially during the 360 days. Do you think the world is ready for Left 4 Dead 3, or do you believe what Jamie is talking about, where they're just going to focus on PC and VR and release a Half-Life, a Left 4 Dead 3, and possibly a Portal in VR instead of messing with the home consoles?
Well, I don't want to crush anyone's hopes here because Left 4 Dead is a fantastic franchise. It has a nostalgia factor. It is zombies. It would sell well, but I'm going to be honest. I don't think Valve is making this. I think they're too focused on Steam, and I think that they're not looking past that at this point because of their value on Steam. And it would just take so much time away from that to develop this game, even though they could afford to hire a studio.
Yeah, they have money. They're making money hand over fist. I mean, they haven't made a game in years, Clowns.
Yeah, it's been years.
Well, look, all I know is this. This was probably one of the best episodes I've done in saying 2019 for sure. The panel was completely I was actually so excited to have everybody on at once. This is a massive panel. The chat, once again, we had almost 180 people watching live, and I believe it's not just for the prizes because I do like to think I put on a good show, and hopefully I'll get some more subs and people will kind of push this along. The ridiculous, and I mean outrageous amount of generosity that was shown on this show in particular with the super chat has just been mind blowing. I want to thank everyone who donated, whether it's $1 or $20. You don't have to, and you're here each and every week, and you're donating, and it's greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. We're closing in on, by the time I get everybody out, it's going to be a 2.5-hour show. So let's get everybody out of here on a awesome Friday. I want to start off with Noof Nukem. You obviously are very popular in the community, and it's not because you're just nasty. That's just a persona. You're a quality community member. You put on good quality content on your channel, and your night gaming show is really making traction within the community. I think it's unique, it's different, it's a little adult to say the least, but you know what? It's something that no one else is doing. Tell everyone where they can follow you, but more specifically, tune in and sub your channel, dude.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Boom, it's been amazing to be here. Congratulations on your 50th episodes, and cheers to many more amazing podcasts to come. You have come a long way, my friend. And one thing we both share in common is I do believe that you and I both got our first little taste of the podcast bug with Crossfire and Moose.
Yes.
So that's something. Our growth's been obviously for both of us has been fantastic. Yours is certainly skyrocket. Mine's a little bit stagnant, but I haven't certainly put the work in and the content out like you certainly have. You've worked really hard to get where you are. Congratulations on that, sir. It shows. But yes, as far as my podcast, it's on Tuesday nights with Primal Eve. We often have guests. Boom was a guest of ours a few weeks back. It was a great podcast. Yes, it is a gaming podcast, but it's also we do like movie chat. We talk about life issues. We have some weird questions and stuff. It's an interactive chat, and it is a bit raunchy. So it's not for the faint of heart or faint of ears a lot of the times. If you guys know me, and as far as me, I'm like this 24/7 basically. Like no chills never really turns off. You can ask my wife. It's always going. Actually, I tone myself down a lot for some of these things. But anyway, I've had a blast being here. This was an amazing show, an incredible panel, great articulation here, lots of great views, well-respected panel members here. Thanks everybody so much for your love and support. Thanks for supporting Boom. Great giveaways today. Great chat as well. Kudos to everybody. Well, I'm about to shut my pie hole, and I will see you guys online. That's where it should be. Let's go play some games. Peace out.
Nice. Well, listen, it's always a pleasure to have you here, especially having Arnold and, of course, Cletus making a surprise return to the podcasting game. It was great to have those guys here. So Shady, you took a couple of weeks off for some personal things. I'm glad everything worked out for you. You are a big part of Breakfast with Boom. You are a regular panel member, and I love having you on. A great rant today, which is what I look forward to when you're. It's one of the reasons why I asked you to be a regular panel member, because you know what, you speak the truth, you speak from the heart. You talk about gaming from a gamer's point of view. Please tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter, but more specifically, listen to more of these rants weekly.
Oh yeah, sorry. Thanks, Boom. I thought you had one or two more words there, so I was just waiting. But no, that's it was so good to be back. I love coming onto the show, even though its airtime is literally 100% opposite my normal weekly schedule. I gladly swap it for the one day to come here because, man, I have just such a great time. And you, Boom, you're such a fantastic host. Even with 7 of us maniacs today, you kept everything in check, dude. We weren't screaming over each other, yelling over each other, where everyone got to articulate the point they wanted to make. And that's one of my favorite parts about your show compared to other shows in the community. It's a big standout thing, is everyone gets a fair shake to say what they would like to say. And that's fine. We're not judging each other. At the end of the day, we're all gamers. We all respect each other. We respect our audience. The audience, speaking of which, is fantastic over here. I love it. It's a very active chat, very polite, very courteous. I get a lot of messages on Twitter. By the way, Twitter, I am so shady at the Sesh Empire. I get a lot of messages on Twitter just congratulating me on being on the show, mentioning how they enjoy the opinion, they enjoy the pacing of the show and whatnot. It's really nice to see, man. It's nice to see, and it's nice to be a part of a show that isn't necessarily drama-ridden. Now, speaking of drama-ridden, you can also find me on Xbox Nation every Wednesday, man. We cut it up over there. Again, there's a lot of difference of opinion over there. It's a different attitude, and it's a different type of show than it is over here. But I really do love being on that show as well. We have a good time. We're laughing. We're yucking it up. And like I said, everyone's got very different values as to what they enjoy in gaming, and that's totally fine. I'm down to hear them as long as they're down to hear mine. So I hope you can check me out on Wednesdays over there. Every Friday, I am over here. Like I said on Twitter, I am at the Sesh Empire. Xbox, I'm so shady. Thank you, everybody, for spending your time with us this week. Have a good weekend. Take it easy.
Thanks so much, dude. Really appreciate it. Real quick, before I get to you, Jamie, get you out of here. Cyber Gunter 81 with the outrageous $5 super chat, and then following suit, not to be forgotten about, James 176 with the incredible $5 super chat. Thank you guys so much for that. That is greatly appreciated. You guys have been with me since the beginning of this ride, and it's just been great to have you guys in the chat each and every week. Jamie, listen, dude, you are a stone throw away from 1,000 subs, which is a big deal for YouTubers. I don't want to say it we're not glorified with the 1,000, but it does make you as a content creator appreciate that people subbed your channel. I think more people should. I'd like to see you hit 1,000. You deserve it. You've been in the community for a very long time. You are the master of gifts. We know that. You are, yes, our sarcastic Brit, but you are one of the friendliest people on Twitter. Please tell everyone where they could talk to you on Twitter, but more importantly, sub your awesome YouTube channel.
Thanks, Boom. I mean, today's been fantastic. Congrats on the 50th show. The panel's been absolutely fantastic. And yeah, if people want to follow us on Twitter, it's Jamie Moran UK, and on YouTube, it's The Elusive Gamer. I have a bunch of content leading up to E3. I'm hoping to hit 1,000 subs. Something about that number, 1,000 subs, just sounds nice. And yeah, I've got plenty of stuff planned for the future, and it'll be interesting because I've got podcasts planned, more content. It should be good.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I really enjoy your work. It's detailed, it's thorough, it's efficient, and I think that you will hit 1,000 subs. So if you're in the chat and you follow me, I highly endorse Jamie Moran. Please sub his channel, check it out. You're not going to be sorry. And of course, Emperor Zemi, who he likes to be called that every now and again. You hit 10,000 subs, which is just phenomenal. You are a star in this community. You help out on a regular basis. Where can people sub your channel to continue it to grow, but more importantly, follow you on Twitter, which we have to get your Twitter numbers up.
Yeah, we do, don't we? Like, I only have like 200 followers on Twitter. It's really light. It's very, very light. I've been working on that. But thank you so much, Boom, for letting me come on the show every single week. It's fantastic. Always a great show. Congratulations on the 50th episode of Breakfast with Boom. So many great topics, so many great panel members, so many great viewers, and so many great prizes. Super excited to be here. And if you guys want to, you can follow me on YouTube at Ambassador Zimmy, and then you can also follow me on Twitter at Ambassador Zimmy as well. And just thank you again, Boom.
Yeah, my pleasure, to guys. If you're, like I said, if you're in the chat, there's over 130 people still left. If you're not following Ambassador Zemi, please get over there. It's just, you just have to click a button. It's not going to hurt, I promise. And last but certainly not least, clowns, I left you last because I have the most to say about you in particular. You have helped me more times than people have any idea. YouTube and content creation and promoting your channel and learning all the ins and outs is difficult for someone from my background. I come from a law enforcement background. I think everyone knows that. So I'm not very computer savvy. I'm learning on the job, so to speak. And you've always been a gentleman and a real scholar to answer any question I have. And I truly, truly appreciate that you've guided me through this incredible journey that started in late 2017. I just hit the 17th month as a content creator. It seems like it was just yesterday. So please, clowns, tell everyone where they can follow you, or more importantly, subscribe to your channel and check out Four Guys with Quarters.
First off, Boom, thank you for all the kind words. I definitely appreciate it. And congratulations on the 50th episode and many, many more. And thank you for your years in service as a police officer. We appreciate that. So I salute you, brother. And every Thursday, man, people can check Four Guys with Quarters out. Sometimes Inferno starts at 5 or 5:30. And then I'm doing 4GWQ variant podcast with people in the comic book industry. I got to get with Cody to set up the next one. And always working behind the scenes, meeting people in the industry and trying to get us on a TV schedule for local TV.
Dude, that's unbelievable. You are the hardest working dude in the business. You got the Four Guys with Quarters everywhere. There's a speaker, which is amazing. But once again, before we get everybody out of here, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for allowing me to come on each and every week and entertain you. I'm truly, truly moved by all the words of encouragement that you're enjoying the content. The panel today was absolutely star-packed, and it was great to work with everyone, especially on this kind of an episode where we're hitting almost a year worth of content for Breakfast with Boom. The chat was, as expected, fantastic, and the generosity from you guys is just It's just bananas. So thank you so much for that. Everyone, please have a great weekend. Enjoy gaming. Stay away from the drama on social media. Treat others how you want to be treated. And guess what, folks? It doesn't cost anything to be nice. So with all of that said, have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. And I will see you next Friday morning on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom. Take care, everybody.